There you go. We'd like to welcome everyone out. We're going to go ahead and open up the word of prayer. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this wonderful morning. Lord, we thank you for the country that we get to live in, Lord. Lord, I ask that we'd turn our eyes back to you. Lord, that you'd bless our country once again. We've gotten so far away. I thank you for the weather. I thank you for the ones that put this together. Lord, I thank you for Steve, Lord, letting us have it here. Lord, we ask that you'd be with the day, Lord, that it would edify you. Lord, that all we do and say, that, Lord, that would be pleasing to you. We thank you for a country that we get to do this in the open, not have to worry about it for now. Lord, I ask that you'd be with the people that have been part of this in the past, and Scott Wiggum and David Ahmed and Sam Paredes, Shirley Waltrell, Lord, and Miss Beth Ann Court. Lord, I ask that you be with their families as they're no longer with us. Lord, we ask that you be with each speaker, Lord. We thank you for the time and the safety of them being here and traveling. Lord, we ask that you be with them on their way home, all of us on our way home. Lord, give us a day that would honor you. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Y'all stand. We'll go ahead and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right now, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to my good friend and organizer, Kevin Sommer.
That's a little high. Hey guys, real quick, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. We need to give a big thanks to Runaway Campers, Stephen Shive. And James Phillips, who's here with the firearm firm, because this event would not happen with them. James, thank you. So, welcome to the 9th annual 2A Freedom Fest event. As we keep building this up, guys, yeah, I'm going to use notes this time. One of our most valued possessions is our time. So I want to thank you for coming here, spending that with us, because we don't get our time back. So it's a very valued possession. Thank you guys very, very much. So I want to personally thank all the guest speakers, event staff, for spending their valuable time with us. Same thing. Unfortunately, though, I do have some bad news. I think you guys may agree here, in this country, we are under constitutional crisis in this country. But I also have good news, because I think, honestly, we're going to have a revival, a constitutional revival in this country. And that all starts with you guys. It all starts with you guys being here. So, with that being said, as Benjamin Franklin said, we must all stick together, or surely we will all hang separately. You know the saying that that history, if those who forget history will basically fail to repeat it if you don't learn from it. So I want to look back at some cases real quick here throughout the last 20 years, 25 years. So, District of Columbia, Heller in 2008, McDonald v. Chicago, 2010. If you guys don't know what this is, please take notes. Please research them. The McDonald decision, so McDonald v. Chicago, that was in 2010. Ezell v. City of Chicago, again, 2011. Castellano v. Massachusetts, 2016. New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, 2022. The Rahimi decision, which was United States Rahimi 2024. And then, I'm crooked here. Then we had the Bruin decision that happened. Well, I mentioned the Bruin decision. The Bruin decision. So with that, those cases eventually led to the decision that we had here in the first DCA recently that gave us our open carry rights back. Yeah. All right. So back in the day, we had to be fishing or camping to do that. So Eric Friday was here somewhere. Eric right there. I'll let him dive into that, but he's the one that represented that and won that for us. So thank you, Eric. So that case with Eric had the first DCA, then led to the recent decision of December 10th, 2025, Gun Owners of America, v. Del Toro, which was a settlement with Katz and Phillips, who was represented with James Phillips back here. So that, again, that led to this. So if you see things, it started with Heller in 2008. Do you guys see the snowball effect? How this works? So I think some of you guys may agree. Being called a snowflake was an insult, right? You hear people say it all the time, you're a snowflake. Well, honestly, I think we need some Second Amendment snowflakes. And what I mean by that is, well, you can't have snowballs. You can't have snowball effect without snowflakes. So, little play on words here. So the one thing we're going to talk about is we have an issue here in the gun community, I would say. So there's a difference between the gun community and the Second Amendment community. And the gun community, I'll use the word complacent. A lot of people in the gun community, if you own a revolver and you have it in your drawer, you are technically a part of the gun community. But Second Amendment advocates advocate. They are on the phone with their representatives. So my goal is for all you guys here who are part of the gun community, we kind of want to invite you over to the Second Amendment community because we need you guys. We need you guys to be Second Amendment snowflakes because something you do may add to that snowball. The fact is, like I was talking with the gun community, is being complacent, being kind of, they may even say things, I support the Second Amendment, but, or they're fed the same narrative over and over again. Some don't want our open carry rights. Some believe in, modern sporting rifle bans. It's ridiculous. And they're just fed this stuff over and over and over again. And it's our job to kind of steer everyone in the right direction. As gun owners in this country, we're not outnumbered. We're out-organized. Yeah. We're highly out-organized. And the way we get organized, again, is sticking together, everyone becoming members of the Second Amendment community, joining organizations, Florida Carry, Gun Owners of America, the NRA, you name it, FPC, tuning into the firearm firm, tuning into Anthony Calandra's show, Gun for Hire Radio, things like that. You're going to get educated, you're going to learn things. So Dan Wass is sitting back there at that table back there. He's got his books. He has a show called The Loaded Mic. He has the book series Good Gun, Bad Guy. He has a way of saying things that put things in order, put things in perspective. So with that being said, the one thing, where's that here? It should be here, it's not here. So I want you guys to join me on one thing. And I need you guys to say it with me, because that's what this event's about. I need it loud. Educate, inspire, and motivate. Say it. Educate, inspire, and motivate. We need you guys to speak in a way to those people who think differently, speak in a way where they want to listen. So it's not go at them, yell at them, Even if they're cursing at you, just be nicer. If you're on social media, be nicer, because it's not just them you're talking to. There's hundreds, if not thousands of other people watching that conversation. And they may be on the fence. So the question is, what side of the fence you want them to fall on? So if you were sitting there representing and trying to represent the Second Amendment community, remember that, keep that mindful. No name calling, no BS stuff like that. Just stick with facts, guys. The other thing is the Second Amendment doesn't defend itself. Here's where you guys come into play. And I got this from James Phillips. The Second Amendment does not defend itself. That's up to you guys. Thank you, and we're going to get to our first guest speaker. I want to introduce our host, and honestly, you guys may know the story, this event would not be possible without him, Stephen Shives.
Good morning. Welcome to, what is this? 8? 9? We just finished our 9th annual camping rally. So if you don't know me, I'm Steve Shives. I own Runaway Campers. Kevin and I just hit it off several years ago when he was in a pinch and I was feeling a little crazy. So here we are and continue this trend. But let me tell you a little story that kind of puts all of this in perspective. In 2012, I built a small camping trailer out of some scrap materials. I wasn't planning on starting a business. I was just doing something because I like to build things. We built this building a few years ago. I just like to build things. And so I turned around and sold that little camping trailer on eBay to some people in Kentucky 36 hours after I finished it. And from the moment they bought it, I started getting messages and phone calls from the eBay listing saying, did they pay for it? Did they buy it? If they don't want it, I'll take it. Will you build another one? And long story short, I told my wife, I think I might be onto something. I wasn't planning on starting a business. And here we are, 13, 14 years going into it with thousands of camping units on the road that started in my backyard. And later, shortly after it started in my backyard, code enforcement told me I couldn't do that there. That, you can't build those in your backyard. And I said, well, I beg to differ, I've been doing it. But it forced us to continually grow. And a few years ago, I said to my son, I said, what are you thinking about the business? Or, are you just thinking we should build this up and sell it? Kind of like that's how things go, right? You build a business, you sell it, make lots of money, and skip down. And or should we just continue to grow this thing? He said, Dad, he said, I've thought about this. He said, who doesn't know the name Winnebago? Who doesn't know the name Airstream? He said, wouldn't it be awesome if one day our grandchildren could tell people, my family started this business? That is the American dream, folks. That's the American dream. And so, thank you. It's a good feeling to be a part of that and to be a representative of that, because that's what you're doing here today. You're not just here because of the Second Amendment and gun rights. You're not here just because it's something good to do on a Saturday. The Second Amendment not only protects us, but it connects us to the American dream and everything that it was established for. So this is what we're here for today. This is why, that's right, that's why you need to be voting for constitutional conservatives that are not politicians out there to make a career out of it, but are out there to say, we are Americans and we're proud of it and we want to represent the community well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of everything that's going on, and continue to press forward in the American dream, because it's still alive. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Matt the Welder, coming up next, and share a few things about his campaign. So come on, Matt.
Thank you. I I'm running for Ag Commissioner in 2026. The current Ag Commissioner is responsible when he was Senate President for giving us risk protection orders. Yeah, boo. Right now, there's children as young as 8 years old having risk protection orders filed against them. They don't even understand half of what's going on. They play violent video games. The next thing you know, they say something at school, risk protection order filed. What about their constitutional rights to the Second Amendment? So the Division of Ag affects people in way more ways than you could imagine. It handles the concealed weapon license. I'm sure everybody in this room probably knows that. Most people don't. It's the Division of Forestry, Consumer Services. Everything you can imagine has been lumped under the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And right now they're trying to do everything they can to keep me from getting that position. They keep changing the rules on me, quite literally. They tried to endorse my opponent, the Republican Party of Florida did last week, February 10th. They were going to endorse him. He's not even registered to run. Then this week they decided they're going to change the laws to make sure that anybody who petitioned to change their name can't run for office. That is oddly specific, isn't it? And when I called about it, they said, well, I asked them, I said, Florida's had elections since like 1845. Why now did you need to exclude people from running for office who petitioned to change their name? And they said, well, in case somebody ran for office before, maybe had a fictitious name, gained notoriety, and then changed their name to the more recognizable name. I said, you literally just described the candidate I'm talking about. And I said, no, we didn't. We don't know who you're talking about. So they're making laws to try to keep the working class out of office. And our government was founded to be ran by the working class, not a bunch of rich elitists that we have in office right now. So if they're able to make laws to exclude people like myself who have changed their names to run for office, how come they can't write us laws for growth management to curb all of this urban sprawl encroaching in our farmland? You see all of the bureaucrats talking about how bad the frost was and how much that's going to increase vegetable prices down at the store, but nobody's talking about what urban sprawl is going to do permanently to vegetable prices in the state of Florida and in the entire country, really. They talk about the only way to lower oil prices is to increase domestic drilling, and we got to drill, baby, drill. But when it comes to beef prices, the only way we can lower them is if we import Argentinian beef. Why aren't we saying graze, baby, graze? Why aren't we helping our ranchers keep their profits? I spoke with a guy, Danny Duncan. He's a famous YouTuber. He has done more to save Florida than any bureaucrat in the state of Florida. He bought 95 acres down there in Inglewood because he didn't want to develop it. He wants to get into farming. They will not give him greenbelt on that 95 acres. We need to update our outdated greenbelt laws. We need to provide growth management laws because right now they're telling us all we have to conserve water. There's water restrictions. Why are we approving new houses right now? Why is nobody pushing for a moratorium on new growth? If we don't have water for the people now, where are you going to get it for all the other ones you're welcoming from New York City? I think that's my 5 minutes they gave me. I got the gift of gab, I just don't know how to wrap it, but I appreciate you guys for having me out.
What's up with all the tall people putting the mic so high? All right, our next guest speaker coming up is Bobby Williams. He's running for Florida governor. Bobby, come on up.
Thank you, sir. I'm Bobby Williams, running for Florida governor. I got 3 slogans. Number 1, Florida is full. Actually, I got 4. The next one, don't New York my Florida.
Yes.
And one reason why is obviously a lot of people are tourists, they come here, but Florida is Florida for a reason. We're conservative, we believe in gun rights, we believe in all the gun rights. I am for getting, the problem with government is if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, right? So when you got a red flag law in this, if you give them that, what else are they going to take? And they keep doing that. So I'm against the red flag. I'm against 18 years old, you should be able to buy a gun. If you can get a driver's license at 16, and I hate to say this, probably a car is more of a deadly weapon than a gun is. And these kids are running these roads we see with texting and driving and drinking and driving, killing more people than guns ever will. We got to have rights, because actually for Second Amendment, we're here today. That's the greatest thing that keeps us free, right? Because we're the largest army in the United States. And if you give them a little, you take a lot. So there is no buts. these people from New York love what we do here in Florida. They love our ways, they love our ideology, and they love our waterways and our lands, but their big money's coming here destroying it. But don't bring your ideas here. Don't bring your voting here. Don't bring all your nonsense here when you move here, you know? I'm a godly man. We say prayer. We say prayer and we say the pledge, right? It's one nation under what? God. We got to get God back in government. We got to get God back in schools. Because that's where we're losing our youth. That's the reason why kids are doing these stupid things. We need to teach gun education in school. Right. So if we give them a godly education and education on guns and gun rights, we ain't going to have the nonsense we have. But we've had the very few, and I think Kevin said it the best, the problem is we're not organized. So we stand around, we all believe in the Second Amendment, we believe in the First Amendment, we believe in our country, but we all stay divided. And we'll never work together. And I think that's where we got to get over our differences, get over our ways. So I'm not a politician, I've never been a politician, I don't want to be a politician, I know I got 5 minutes, but just quick wrap up. But so my next thing is you'll know Matthew 7:16 is part of my campaign. You'll know them by their fruit. So I don't care who you're voting for, what you're looking for, you got to look at what is their fruit. What have these people done the last 5, 10 years in their life, in their community, in government? And that's what's going to show you the difference between these guys. So I run a ministry called the Freedom Tour. We do food disaster relief all over the United States. When COVID hit 2020, I didn't mask, I didn't social distance, and I didn't shut down. So there's number one fruit. I didn't take a shot either. I was willing to go to jail. I said if Paul, Peter, James went to jail, Jesus went to jail, I'll go to jail. We'll just get the jail saved. I mean, whatever God wants. So I'm running this on a godly deal. So since then to now, we moved over 100 million pounds of product into the state of Florida for free. That's no federal grants, no state grants, no nothing. It's local money coming in. If you had to buy that's $350 million gift in kind. We continue to do that. And so one thing people say, well, when you become a politician, you'll line your pockets, you'll do this, you'll do that. Well, you'll see this. We can actually donate these to Kevin. I had a whole semi-load of these thermocells come in. If you had to buy these at Bass Pro, they're $30 a piece. That whole semi-load costs $550,000. We give them away free. We don't do raffles, we don't do thrift stores, we don't do none of that. I find organizations like his that are doing good things. Hey, let me give it to you, help you better your draw. Because people love free stuff, right? I mean, I like free stuff. So it's all about character. It's all about this is who you are and who you're going to be. So you need to look at these guys and do that. So that's been my character for the last 5, 10 years, 15 years, really. I was a heathen for 32 years. I've done a lot of stupid stuff. But in 2010, God changed my life. And I say this. So in 2010, God changed my life on a hunting trip. I was out hunting in the Midwest. I come home and I did what every Christian should do, go to church, right? The next 5 years of going to church, I learned what not to do. Why? There's no unity. There's nothing going on. They talk about an issue, they talk about a problem, they talk about it over and over. Nobody never does nothing. And it takes organizations like this to work together to do that. So since COVID to now, I work with over 500 government agencies, ministries, sheriffs, police departments, whatever, to make Florida better. We coordinate, especially during COVID. We were coordinating logistical loads in and out of the state to be a blessing to the state. Not asking for money, not doing it for that, but how can I be a blessing, love our neighbor? We're in our school systems. We work with our schools every day, especially low-income schools. How can we get kids a better education? Because our K through 12 is horrible. Our kids are dumber than ever. I'm a straight shooter. And we got to get education back to teaching these kids life skills and the things they need to learn. Education on gun rights, our Constitution, what's right, what's wrong. Because a lot of these guys, their character is, they're going to sell you a pretty picture. They're going to talk a pretty picture, they're going to do that. But what have they produced the last couple of years? I know I'm thankful for Kevin inviting me. I think there's a couple other candidates that were supposed to come, or wanted to come, or asked to come. And his answer was, well, they voted this way and this way against gun rights, so I don't want them here. Why? That's their fruit. So that's what it is. So Bobby Williams running for governor. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lou. Quick announcement, guys. I'm going to have Amanda Suffolk stand up real quick with a giant roll of raffles. Who likes 50/50s? So Amanda right there, go see her. There are 5 tickets for $5. It's for Real Life Firearm Awareness Coalition. Look, Gina's loaded with tickets already.
No, I'm selling it.
Oh, he's selling it. So one more thing, guys.
It's my side gig.
Did anyone get the? Is it upside down? Did anyone get the pamphlets? The programs? Yes. They're in the back there. If you don't have one, please get one when you get a chance. Guys, thank you, and don't forget to. I'm going to introduce a good buddy of mine. Dan Wass, I've mentioned him before, came in here on his own dime to hang out with us again. Love the guy to death. Check out his books in the back there, but he's going to help MC this event here for us. So Dan, it's all you, brother.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. I really didn't have much prepared, but one thing I'm concerned with is, we're talking a lot about government and how we don't really seem to have control over our government. We don't even have control over our state and local governments. It seems like these people are running wild. So I'm always interested when we get together as Second Amendment advocates, and you guys have been here every year. I've been here almost every year, and we listen. But the problem is, I don't think your questions and your comments are being addressed. And I know everybody in this room has concerns when it comes to the Second Amendment. I do. I'm concerned with red flag laws. The National Red Flag Law would be deadly. I'm also concerned with any type of firearm registration. Because when you put those two together, you got registration, you got universal background checks, which puts your name on a list. And then you got a national red flag law. It could be deadly because first you need to be able to confiscate the guns with the red flag laws, but you also need to know where they're located, and that's where the registries come in. So there's combinations that the gun grabbers are putting together of legislation and rules and restrictions and laws that are starting to really chip away. And it's not only, like I said, not only at the national level, it's at the local level. So I was just curious, and this is kind of off the cuff, what are your concerns? What are you worried about? What are some of the things that you want to address? Anybody.
We need to be proactive instead of reactive.
Proactive instead of reactive. Who said that? Gina. Yes, exactly. And I think part of that, the reason we're reactive is because we're not aggressive people. They are, right? But, so they're always looking for ways to attack traditional American values, Second Amendment, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment. And we don't want these problems. Just let us live our lives, leave us the hell alone. So the transition from being reactive to being proactive takes effort. And I think we need to focus on how we're going to be proactive. What does that mean? I don't know. Going to your local town board meetings. Going to, speaking to your congressman, being proactive, taking that proactive approach. Anyway, that's just my thought. Thanks for the question. What else? What are your concerns? What else are we, yes?
The problem I have is we have the biggest army in the world with the private citizens of the United States, all these gun people. But we are disorganized. We don't know if our neighbor is in our same thought process or not. And like these people are doing, we need to get organized. We need to have a system where we do have control.
Yeah.
I mean, these people know that we do have control. We're the biggest army in the world.
Yeah.
But we have no connection with each other. And that's scary. I mean,
So organization.
yeah.
Dan, repeat the question, because we couldn't hear any of what he said.
Yeah, basically what he's concerned with is that we're not organized. And they are, right? We're not organized. We all love the Second Amendment. We love our guns. We all support it. But we don't have a place where we kind of group together and say, look, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. We're going to get organized. These people are going to we're going to gather, we're going to organize, we're going to do stuff. But there are groups that are doing stuff. Gun Owners of America, NRA, Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation.
We need to get involved in that.
We do. We need to get more involved. That's a great point. So sign up for one or more of your national gun rights groups, and you always have a state group. Every state's got a group. We've got Florida Carry right here. We've got Florida Carry. So get with Florida Carry. Get with your national group that you like, or all of them. Give them all your money because they use that money for court battles.
What
Yes.
about the militia angle of this? I mean, is that a good thing, a bad thing?
Well, I think that the militia angle, he said, what about the militia angle? Well, I don't know what your question is.
Well, when push comes to shove and we have a problem in this country, how do we get together to combat that?
Well,
It's a hard question.
I did a speaking event down in Alabama, and the militia groups all got together down there. No, it was Virginia, sorry, it was Virginia. It was for one of the big Virginia gun rallies, and all the militia groups got together, and they were all in one room. And it was a massive group of people. And I gotta tell you, the militias, the state militias are very engaged, and they're very well aware of what's going on. And I just rest assured that the militia groups are, I don't know if they're active, but they're communicating and they're gathered together and they know what's going on. I want to introduce Patrick Collins right now. Come on up here, Patrick. Gunfood. It's thegunfood.com. There he is.
Alrighty, how's everybody doing today? Good. Excellent. First and foremost, thank you. All right, this is the important thing. You guys decided to wake up on a Saturday morning and come here and listen to all of us either speak or come to our vending booths or whatnot. So give yourselves a round of applause for that, because that actually first thing and foremost, I want to tell a quick little story, because everybody's like, well, how do I get started in this? How many of you guys believe that you're like a hobbyist, right? You have guns, you're excited about them, you go out to the range maybe once a month, twice a month, and you have fun with your friends and family just going to the range or whatnot. Go ahead, by show of hands. Okay, quite a few, okay. How many of you guys are actively involved in helping to push the bar so that you can continue to have these rights for the future generations? Okay, a little bit less, but still quite a few. How many of you guys are great at public speaking? All right, a lot less, all right. And you see what I'm doing here, right? As we get closer and closer to the point where we need to change things, or the effectivity point of where things actually get changed, it becomes less and less and less. However, I started off as a competition shooter, okay? My coworker decided to invite me to the range, went to the range, and it happened to be an Area 6 match. If you guys know anything about competition shooting, Area 6 is like a regional championship match. And I literally was partnered together with a whole bunch of celebrities, that I call celebrities, in the shooting world. And that really frightened me. Like, I'm like sitting there like, wait a second, this is an Olympian. I'm shooting right next to them. I've never shot in competition before. I'm afraid, I'm scared. Listen, just do it. Join your local competitions, contact your local politicians, and just take that first step, because once you get in momentum, you're gonna keep it going. And that's what happened with me. So I did the competition for quite a few years, then I went into instructing, when an instructor tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, you have a great way of leading a squad. So in the competition world, you lead a squad, you're squad leader, you represent the squad, you make your final decisions on whether or not someone disqualifies or not. It's a pretty prestigious position that you have for the day, right? He said, hey, you're teaching new shooters how to shoot, you're doing a great job, how about you become an instructor? I never backed down from a challenge, so I said, yes, I'll become an instructor. Went through that course of work, and then I'm like, okay, competition shooter, instructor, what's next? I had a group tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you like speaking? How about talking in front of politicians? Sure, I'll talk to them. Who are they? Are they my friend or enemy? Well, that's for you to decide, right? It's whatever you make of them, right? And then from there, I was like, okay, competition shooting, then I went into instructing, then I went into the politics of things, and I tied those three circles together, and next thing you know, I own a business, right? Started selling ammo, going around and selling quite a bit of ammo, and the bank tellers recognized who I was, and they knew that I was bringing money into the bank every day or every week. And I was like, ooh, gotta formalize this. Started a business, made all the contacts, looped all my concentric circles together. We as individuals can make a difference in this. And I just ask for each one of you guys. We have a lot of different generations here. We have very young kids all the way up to the folks that are towards, their sunsetting years per se. Let's all get involved, okay? That's what I plead to you to do. So on top of that, please feel free to visit all the vendors that are out here. A lot of us have come from all different parts of either the state or even the country just to be here to support this. You guys have had major victories recently, and I understand that you want to celebrate those victories, but the battle never ends, okay? You must keep fighting, all right? Any day now, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, someone can come into office and completely change our worlds around. Just ask Virginia how that went. Okay. So just one last thing I want to make mention to. Kevin told me to figure out something to raffle, so I made a bucket for Kevin. This is a bucket that we're going to keep in the booth. Guess how many rounds are in here? You get to walk away with it. It's $5 a guess. All the money is going to go to Kevin, and we're going to make sure Kevin's happy here, and we keep this battle running, because without you guys, this wouldn't be a battle. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you for having me.
Hey guys, our next guest speaker has become a very, very close friend of mine. We've connected back in 2016, and believe it or not, he's come here from a pretty good gun-friendly state, but he's got some issues. Craig DeLuz, come on up, buddy. We also have a cell phone for sale.
Comes loaded with numbers. Probably it's got Apple Pay on it, so Anyway, my name is Craig DeLuz. As he said, I come from the great state of California. I'll tell you, I thought a lot about what I really had to think about what I wanted to say, what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about originally the importance of being involved, but then I realized, once again, these are you're folks who've given up your Saturday to be here to talk about and learn about advocacy for the Second Amendment. So I said that would kind of be like preaching to the choir, right? I don't think I need to tell you the importance of being active and engaged and educated, because you're here, you're active, you're engaged, and you're getting educated. So what I wanted to do, seeing as how I am a supporter of the Second Amendment from the state of California, basically a walking contradiction, I thought that I would share with you some of the things that maybe you didn't know, or some of the myths that are out there that we really don't think about. For example, a lot of people, when they think of California, think, oh, California's nobody owns a gun. They're surprised that anybody owns a gun in the state of California. They're like, how can you possibly own guns in California? One of the things I tell folks is, there are more guns in California than there are in any other state in the country. I bet you didn't know that. There are more guns now. That's because there are more people in the state of California. But there are actually more firearms owned in the state of California. Some of them the government knows about, some of them the government does not know about. But because of that, there are a lot of Second Amendment advocates in the state of California. The interesting thing about it is that every bad gun idea that you could possibly think about has come before the California legislature. To tell you a little bit more about myself, I didn't own my first gun until I was 40 years old. I had just never thought about it, didn't really think about it, was a believer in the Second Amendment, but I didn't actively exercise my right to keep and bear arms. And what got me interested in being an advocate for the Second Amendment was, I went to buy a gun, I bought a gun, I wanted to be a responsible gun owner, so I wanted to know the laws in California when it came to firearms. Now, I had already been involved for 20 plus years, even before that, active and involved in politics in the state of California. I was actually at the time working in the California legislature. So I knew where to go to look up all the gun laws. And oh my God, I started to realize just how much our rights were being violated, right? And I want you to understand this. This fight is not about the gun. This fight is about our rights, about our fundamental rights, right? And the Second Amendment, it's treated like the red-headed stepchild of rights. You know, some of you will get that. Will remember that. I'm probably dating myself by using that term. But you know, there are politicians that, for them, it's a right, but it's not a right. You know, they treat it like a second tier right. And that's largely because there are many people involved in government or in life period who choose not to exercise that right. So therefore it's not important to them. Just like the right to be able to address your government for some people is not very important because they are never going to call their city council member. They're never going to go to the school board meeting, right? In fact, let me ask you this. How many of you here can name more than one person on your local school board? Exactly. Most people, think about that. Think about, you say your children will spend more time during the day living under the rules of those folks, of those people on the school board, than they are in your own house during the day. They're the ones you would trust the education of your children to, and we don't even know who they are. Most people are not active. Most people are not engaged. And let me tell you, the people who are seeking to take away your rights, they count on that. They count on you not being informed, right? You may think that the politicians, well, they want to see you out there. No, they don't. Because see, when you're not there, when you don't know what's going on, there's two things. Number one, they can do whatever they want, right? They get away with doing whatever they want, and then they can come to you and lie to you, right? They can come to you and they can lie to you. Now, I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know when I tell you that yeah, politicians lie. Not all of them, not all of the time, but they do. But one of the things we have to start doing is by being active and engaged, by knowing what's going on, we can then hold them accountable. Now, I'll tell you this, I am a card-carrying member of the vast right-wing conspiracy. But I will tell you this, not everybody with an R after their name is pro-Second Amendment. The worst part is there are some people who believe that because they have an R after their name, that anything they think, anything that they believe is pro-Second Amendment. In fact, some of the biggest Second Amendment butts that I know.
He knows a lot of butts.
I know a lot of butts. Right, I know big butts, and I get that butt, yeah. But there are, Second Amendment butts are those people who say, you know, I believe in the Second Amendment, but. Now, what do we know about when someone uses that word but? What does it do? It gets rid of anything they said before. So you have politics. I want you to think about this. Florida is known as the gunshine state. How pro-gun has Florida been? Not the gunshine state anymore. Right? Now, this is in spite of the fact that Republicans control both houses of the legislature and the governorship.
And have for several years.
Right. So, I mean, this is a clearly a red state, yet why is it not the most pro-Second Amendment state? Why don't you have your full Second Amendment rights here in the state of California? I mean, in the state, well, in California, but here in the state of Florida. Right? We don't know because we're not holding our electeds accountable. So just because you have an R after your name does not necessarily mean that you are pro-gun. Now, also, we heard someone say this earlier. Just because you own a gun does not mean that you are pro-gun. How many of you have talked to someone who is supporter of gun control? And the first thing they start off with, well, I own a gun. And then they turn around and they talk about restricting rights. See, the worst part about those folks is that they believe, well, I'm responsible. And it's not them that they're worried about, it's you. They don't trust you. You know, because you cling to your God and your guns, right? They don't trust you. How many times have you heard people talk about when we talk about, for example, allowing school staff to be armed? How many of you heard someone say, well, I'm afraid they're gonna go around and shoot students? How idiotic is that? I mean, think about how little they think. First of all, I would never send my child to a school to be with an instructor who I thought, if they had a gun, would shoot my child. Why would you do that? That's how little they think. But like I said, the point is they don't trust you. They don't trust you. They don't trust the American people, right? The other thing is that the other thing that a lot of people don't understand is when people think about the Second Amendment, you know, they focus on the Second Amendment like the Second Amendment gives us a right to keep and bear arms. The Second Amendment doesn't give us anything. The Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, when it was written, Bill of Rights historically are not written as a thing to give rights to people. It is a recognition of fundamental rights that we have, right? In other words, it's telling the government, the point of a Bill of Rights is to tell the government, these are fundamental rights that of the people that the government is not allowed to infringe upon. Right? They are God-given rights. The right to keep and bear arms comes from our fundamental right to self-defense. So even if we did not have a Second Amendment, it does not mean that we don't have a right to own or possess a firearm, because we have a right to defend ourselves. The other thing is this, and this is the hardest thing, because whenever you hear in politics, you always hear about, quote unquote, the gun lobby. And everyone, when they think of the gun lobby, who do they think of?
NRA.
The NRA.
Yes.
Right?
We have a new NRA.
The problem is that the NRA is not the gun lobby. Do me a favor, raise your hand if you are the gun lobby. We are the gun lobby. We are the individuals. So the key has got to be this. How active and engaged are we? Are we in the game? And I will tell you this. If you are not giving your time, if you are not giving your talent, if you are not giving up your treasury, then you are not in the game. You're a cheerleader. I played sports all my life. I'll just say this, cheerleaders don't win games. They don't. I've run for office. I sit on the school board. I've been on the school board for 21 years. I've run for Congress. I've run for state legislature. And the biggest challenge that Second Amendment advocates have is raising money. Because Second Amendment supporters don't give money. They don't give money to candidates. They'll give money to the NRA. They'll give money to gun owners. They'll give money to FPC. They'll give money to the gun store owner. But they don't give to candidates. If we want to elect people who are going to prioritize our issues, then we need to elect them. We need to help them. We need to make sure that people hear about them. And let's be honest, when you start getting at the level of state legislature, when you start getting to the level of Congress, when you start getting to the level of lieutenant governor, governor, attorney general, no matter how good you are, no matter how articulate you are, you can't talk to every single individual voter. You can't be in every single group. You've got to try and find a way to multiply your voice, and that's what money in politics does. Now, I will tell you, and people may not like the idea of money in politics, but guess what? It's here to stay. And if it's not you giving, if it's not you helping your candidate, then it's going to be someone else helping the other candidate. It's interesting, most of, whether it's the NRA or whether it's FPC, and I started with the Firearms Policy Coalition. By the way, how many of you here are familiar with the Firearms Policy Coalition? Okay. FPC in 2012 did not exist. It started in 2013. I was working for Assemblyman Kevin Jeffries. He was turned out, and I decided I went to work for the Firearms Policy Coalition, doing primarily media. But then they dropped 52 anti-gun bills that year. 52. This was right after the shooting in Santa Barbara. And they asked me if I would then be a lobbyist. And I found out really quickly certain things, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. The first thing that I found out was most of the people who are writing gun laws know nothing about firearms, know nothing about firearms technology or the firearms industry, and they don't like people who do. They are completely and utterly ignorant about firearms, and they don't care. All they care about is, can I get in the media? So that was the first thing that I learned. The second thing that I learned was that it's not about the gun. I want to say that one more time. It's not about the gun. It's about our civil rights. Let me tell you about civil rights, especially the Second Amendment. If you allow them to take your Second Amendment, if you allow them to go after the Second Amendment, they believe this. They believe that if you are a supporter of the Second Amendment, all of your other rights become suspect. And I can go into a number of examples of how they're doing that, but all of your rights become suspect. That's why it's important. They're all together. They all work together. We have to utilize our civil rights. Folks, this is not about the gun. It's about our civil rights. If we do not use them, we will lose them. Thank you. Craig, great points. Great points. And you know what? Really what stuck out to me was how important the Second Amendment is, because with countries who don't have a Second Amendment, look what's happening. Look at Venezuela. They're throwing rocks to defend themselves. Anyway, we have Amanda Suffolk, who's coming up. She's from the NRA. She's on the NRA Board of Directors. And I guess this is going to be a Q&A sort of thing with Gina Roberts from Women for Gun Rights. So let's do it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I have to say that following Craig, I'm sitting there each time going, oh, and then, yeah, and I could talk on that, and oh, and on that, and good points, and another point, and another point. So it's pretty darn amazing, the lineup of people that Kevin has gotten here today. It pretty much is, if you look, it's a national who's who of there we go. It's a national who's who of the Second Amendment and gun rights. And so I want to thank Kevin for doing this. You're really good. So I want to, Kevin asked me to introduce you guys to Gina. And I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And what am I going to say? And where are we going to go? And it's evolved since he asked. And he asked because there was somebody on Facebook that said, but you're a man. And then went into this whole thing and telling us that we were all crazy and delusional if we talked to Gina. If we interacted with Gina, then we were complicit in whatever this person thought they took offense at. I want you to look at the lineup of speakers that Kevin brought to this event. And the one thing that you'll find out is that they don't all look the same. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, gun owners were stale, pale, and male is the term that I use, right? I mean, they were, my radio partner is a big, burly, bearded dude in a plaid shirt. And he says, because they don't make non-plaid shirts for large people. But, but it has changed. The Second Amendment and gun ownership, I want you to look around this room. It is the face of everybody. It is our neighbors. It is our friends. It is absolutely everybody. And everyone has the right for self-defense. Self-defense is a human right, and it should not be restricted to one group. I mean, at one point it was restricted to one color. If you're the wrong color, you can't have a gun, right? We're changing, and we're changing all of that. So in today's environment, I want you to, when you watch the news, I want you to look at it and try to figure out who the news wants us to hate this week. Because that's really a big piece of this, is they pick out who's going to be the enemy. And then they put their program together like that. You guys are in Florida, so you saw the whole thing with, what was it, Trayvon Martin and and George Zimmerman. And it was called Trayvon, the cute little kid, and Zimmerman, the big bad guy. Right?
White Mexican.
White Mexican, exactly. So, but the news picked out immediately in the beginning who's going to be the winner, who's going to be the loser in that narrative. So right now, this week, there is a whole new narrative on the fact that the transgender community has got to be guilty of every mass shooting that is happening. So I want us to get back to actually looking at people for the content of the character and not this color of their skin or the color of their hair or the color of their clothes or whatever that is. And so I have been a friend of Gina's, and Gina has been a friend of mine for what, 10 years, 8 years? So, right around 10 years. And the one thing is, everyone has, my mother always said, everyone has the right to screw up their own life the way that they want to screw it up, and no one else should have the right to tell you how to live your life. They shouldn't tell you where you live, they shouldn't tell you who you marry, they shouldn't tell you any of those things. They shouldn't have the right to judge those things for each and every one of us. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to get to know Gina. So Gina, tell me, how did you get involved with Women for Gun Rights?
Well, after I transitioned, I realized that there was a considerable amount of, am I not close enough?
That's better.
There was a considerable amount of danger that a lot of women were being confronted with. And me as a transgender woman was even one more level of that. And so I really got involved in A Girl and a Gun and trying to help train women. And then I was actually involved with first Trump administration talking to the Department of Education. It happened to be the same week that Women for Gun Rights were in DC, and we stopped by the hotel. And
You're like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Wait, it's guns and teal and women?
And I walked in, and it was like this giant, Holly Sullivan,
Sicali.
Called me in and said, talk to us and tell us who you are. And I have never in my life felt so completely part of the group as I was that night. So it was amazing.
So it really is that people judge you for your skills and your ability and the actions that you perform, not that someone else performs.
Correct.
Isn't that pretty amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess that's exactly the point. So the other thing is that the news is trying to scare us and tell us that every person who's transitioned now wants to take a 5-year-old and transition them.
Yeah. Well, I consider there's like two types of transgender people. There's the transgender/transsexual people that for one medical reason or another take a transition. Then I call other people transwax.
Okay.
They're the purple hair with the beard and all that stuff and the tutus. And all it does is make, I'm going to say us more normal, but it probably won't fit a lot of people's vernacular. But it just makes life harder because those are the people that make the news. Those are the people that end up on the conservative, oh, this person shouldn't have a gun. What I thought was really cool was when the Department of Justice said, oh, trans people shouldn't have guns, and then all of a sudden the entire left stood up and said, you can't discriminate against trans people. It was like one of the best possible.
It was really funny because all of a sudden the left and the right agreed that a gun is available to everyone who is not proven that they shouldn't have one. I mean, so it should be a function that you prove that you are not capable of having one, you prove that you should not have one for cause, then you shouldn't have one. But we've gotten to a point where
labels win.
Labels win, and so we cut slack to people who do bad things because, oh, well, they were misunderstood, or they were this, or they were that. And their actions have proven that they should not be the person. They should not have whatever that skill or ability or effort. And so we've been like, oh, well, we're not gonna put them in jail. Daytona Beach, have you guys seen the news recently? The guy in Daytona Beach that just stabbed the guy in the neck? Did you see that? And he had 3 interactions with the police that day. One of them with a guy in a sledgehammer, right? But they didn't have enough explanation to take him away from society with a sledgehammer and a victim. It had to get to the knife and a slashing before. It's that, when they tell you who they are, believe them. And that's the other piece of what we need to be doing in society. So Gino, because Kevin's looking antsy,
I'll stand between you.
Okay, so tell me, what things do you want, if you're trying to talk to people and say, look, just judge me on me, what do you say to them?
Well, it's really fun because, first of all, I can use who I am to get in and talk to a lot of liberal legislators. And I walk in, they're like, oh, hey, let's talk about the Second Amendment. And they're like, oh.
Oh, it's great. I mean, Gina, when Women for Gun Rights goes to DC, Gina gets us into the offices with the California senators. Gina gets us into officers with Dick Durbin. Gina gets us into officers that the rest of the time they look at us and say, I mean, Dick Durbin actually said to Lori Blackwell and I that, he said to the rest of the audience, I want you to know that those two ladies there in the teal, they're only here because they want to be able to shoot small children. And that was his true belief to the rest of this audience. So Gina gets us a seat at the table in places where there isn't one. But the other part is that you're extremely active in conservative politics. And the conservative politics folks don't know what to do with her either. They just don't. And so...
Well, and what's really fun is I really don't make a big deal about it. I just start talking to people about what we believe in, what we all believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because whenever if somebody in the gun world gives me a lot of grief, and there were some people in San Diego, I just went to the range and I shot the daylights out of them.
There you go.
And for a long time, San Diego County gun owners, I was kind of like well, if you want to learn how to shoot, go see Gina. And which was really cool because the local Orthodox Jewish shooting organization that we have in San Diego, and it's now pretty well countrywide, called Guns N' Moses, asked me to be their lead instructor. And I like looking at Danny Kaplan, who asked me, I said, okay, two things, Danny. One, you know I'm not Jewish, right? I said, yeah, no problem. He said, and some of you people may have a problem with who I am. I said, well, that's cool, then they won't learn.
Okay.
And so the point is to get past the labels, to get past this thing. I mean, I look around here, my friends are here that, I like Tony Simon. I mean, he is the definition of 2A diversity. And he and I and Tina and all my friends here, it's amazing how most of the gun world is essentially colorblind and brings everybody together. And that diversity is part of our strength. And it allows us to get in and talk to people that don't like us. I mean, I just spent time at the New Mexico Legislature committee meeting. They didn't let me talk, but I sure glared well. And she knows that I glare very well. And, when they're talking, they're spouting lies. I'm just like, oh.
I'm going to say Lori Blackwell back there from Chicago, she does not glare well at all. Everything that she thinks is on her face, and you're like, your face is saying that out loud. Make it stop. Just make it
And
stop.
this is why we love Lori. But yeah, the opportunities are there, the community. I mean, every community has people that don't accept others. I mean, it's just the way it is. And the point is don't let them get in your way.
And don't let them pick who we're supposed to hate. I guess that's for me the theme, is watch what is being fed to you. Watch what is coming at you. And then say, okay, what's their agenda? Who do they want me to hate? What do they want me to look at versus what don't they want me to look at? What should I be angry about today? And then just refuse to do that. Let's meet each person where they are, and if they prove that they're an asshole, believe them. And until they do, then let's assume that they are a friend, and let's assume that they're friendly, and let's move on. We are all in this together. Absolutely all in this together. So, okay, I think we're done. I want to thank you very much. Is there something else?
No, I just want to thank everybody for being here. And this is always such a pleasure to come here and see all my people.
This is good. I mean, you wouldn't believe the different states that people came from to come here to support this, and so it's pretty darn
It's actually
good.
shorter now.
instead of California. There you go.
Why is it we keep using the short word, shorter?
Short. Okay, well, thank you very much.
And we bring Chad, so you have somebody to look eye to eye.
Let me do the NRA spiel. How many of you guys are NRA members? Okay, good. How many of you are NRA voting members? How many of you voted in the NRA Board of Direction election? Good jobs. So generally, 100,000 people out of 2.7 million that are eligible to vote for the Board of Directors votes. And if you haven't yet voted and your ballot is still somewhere around in your February magazine, I am on ballot. I'm just gonna let you know. So I am diligently fighting both inside and outside the NRA for the Second Amendment.
And the year I ran, Kevin wouldn't let me say anything.
Yeah.
Gina, would you explain just a brief bit, or a brief bit about the reform movement at the NRA and what you're part of?
Okay, let's talk about the reform movement. So the NRA, we'll just say that the NRA was run internally on the board, and frankly, I think there's 4 board members here today, 4. But the board was run by a bunch of lawyers who pretty much told everybody else, come in, sit down, and shut up. Well, the more you get to know me, you'll find out that I do not have that ability. I absolutely do not. And so the reform movement started with a group of people that started to go, wait, this doesn't make sense. And so they gathered there was a few of them, and they kept getting outvoted on everything that they did. And so they started to reach out to get other people that thought like them to run for the board. And then the next year they got a few more. So 2024, there was 4 for reform. I was elected in the 2023 class. Anthony, what year were you elected?
Well, 19 in Indiana.
Okay, so Anthony came in 19. I was elected in 2023. Willis has his own unique story that I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you that he made it. He was working up through the chairs when, in my opinion, and this is my story, I'm telling it for him, they discovered that he thought like a reformer, and they booted him out of the middle of it and tried to make him the person that we needed to hate. But this group of reformers has built up to the point where by 2025, we now have the majority. And so we have enough majority that the craziness that they were going to do. Here, let me give you one example. The building, the big blue building that everybody knows as the NRA. When you see any advertisements, it's the big giant blue building. Someone had contracted to sell the building for $16 million. The building was appraised by the bank, and banks are not generous, by the bank for $34 million. So somebody was insider dealing to somebody else, and when we caught them and we started asking questions, they flat out lied to us. They lied to us. And so it took an all-out rebellion and a revolt to stop that kind of stuff happening. So the NRA is on the upside. It's returning to its former power, its former glory. For years, when New York went after the NRA shut up. And they told everybody, you weren't allowed to talk about the NRA at all. And so tell me what business could survive for 8 years without marketing or advertising or mentioning the business's name? 8 years. That's where the NRA is coming back up out of. And that is where the reform candidates are. And this time, between October and December of this year, 13 of the old guard non-reformers, 13 of them quit the board, took their crayons, and went home. And you know what my mom used to say? Don't let the door hit you on your way out. See ya. So that's where we're at right now. We have control of the NRA back, and you're going to start seeing really good things happening piece by piece by piece. And one of them is Greg DeLuz is talking about these groups working together, or was it Dan Was? The groups working together. You'll see now that the NRA, Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, they're all working with each other in the lawsuits. They're writing amicus briefs. They're not fighting with each other. They're supporting each other. They're promoting each other. They're moving each other forward. That's what we need to do. We need to all be heading in the same direction. Now he's telling me to get off the darn stage. Okay, I'm gone.
it sucks because you come over here from Ohio and I feel like I gotta kick you off.
Yeah, he did.
So-
He did kick me out. He did kick me. You saw that, right?
Thank you guys. Thank you, Dina.
All right, thank you.
Guys, go visit the booth, Women for Gun Rights out there. They are doing amazing work. Our next guest speaker
Buy raffle tickets.
is a dad. He's an amazing gentleman that I met, I guess, 2 years ago? 2 years ago, approximately? So, Mr. Keith Davis.
Thank you, Kevin. So, as Kevin said, I'm Keith Davis. These are my boys, James and Grant. We have a social media channel called the 2A Boys that has just showcased the capability of young kids when you give it to them. But the 2A Boys, that didn't start as a brand. It didn't start as a business plan. There was no content strategy, no marketing. It started as a mom and a dad that realized two things. Our boys were growing up fast, and if we didn't teach them responsibility and about freedom, no one else would. Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." That verse reminds us that nothing lasting happens by accident. One day I had a conversation with a man a lot of y'all know, Stephen Williford, great hero. If you don't know him, look him up. He reminded me of words from Ronald Reagan. Reagan said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in the United States when men were free. One generation. Not two, not five, one. Look around this room. We are that generation. And the next one is watching us. So what do we do with that? I don't have to convince y'all that the Second Amendment matters because we're all here at the 2A Freedom Fest. But here's the real question. Are we training the next generation to sustain it? Because belief alone does not preserve freedom. Competence does, discipline does, and being intentional about it carries on freedom. So I want to tell a quick story about how this all got started for us. It wasn't my idea. 2A mom sitting right there, she brought it up. She wanted me to find someone to train James on how to shoot a pistol. He had the basics down, the 4 universal rules, and I could have coached him myself, but there's a good thing about having boys that are coachable. So I found a gentleman, and at the time we thought it would just be lessons, how to stance, grip, just how to put a tight group on paper. That was the plan, just basic instruction. But the moment James stepped onto the range, we saw a change. In Grant, we weren't sure. He was a few years behind, but are you going to tell him you're going to hold him back? I know him pretty well, and he doesn't go for that. So before long, they were both out there on the range, and what we thought were just going to be shooting lessons turned into mentorship. Those weren't just instructors. Those guys were experienced men that had done it for a living, that saw something in our boys. Men who believed young men should be trained and not entertained. They taught discipline. They demanded focus. They corrected immediately. They expected maturity, and the boys responded. We watched something happen that we didn't expect. They started standing differently. They spoke differently. They carried themselves. They matured fast. Not because someone told them to grow up, but because someone expected them to. And I'll never forget something that Paige said to me. She said, "I feel safer when the boys are with me." Not that they were armed, but they'd become aware of what was going on around them. They were watching. They positioned themselves between her and a crowd because they were protecting her. They weren't boys trying to impress anyone. They were young men learning to take responsibility. Now, they weren't perfect, but they showed up. They listened, they improved. They earned the respect of the men that had been training them. And those mentors kept investing their time in them. And what started as, let's learn how to shoot a bullseye, turned into raising protectors, raising men. And that's when we realized this was so much more than just learning how to shoot a pistol. It was about raising men. So I mentioned mentorship a couple times there. I want to talk about that a minute. You know, we're good about talking about protecting the Second Amendment. But there's some times when we're not as good at preparing the next generation stepping into it. Now, most people are welcoming, generous, patient, but there are moments when young people show up eager to learn, and instead of being mentored, they're measured. Instead of being coached, they're criticized. Instead of being welcomed, they're put through a quiet test. And sometimes that test isn't about how safe they are. It's about whether they've reached some arbitrary age that somebody pulled out of the air. But age shouldn't be that barrier. Maturity should be the standard. I'd rather see an 8-year-old that understands the 4 universal rules of gun safety, shooting with her dad, than a 26-year-old that's never handled a weapon, step up to the line unattended, nobody bats an eye. Excuse me 1 second. Gatekeeping does not preserve freedom, mentorship does. Kids are far more capable if given the opportunity to be capable. If a young person shows up willing to train, willing to listen, willing to respect the process, that's not a threat. That's an opportunity to be intentional. We cannot say freedom is 1 generation away from extinction and then fold our arms when that next generation walks through the door. They don't need skepticism, they need standards. They need structure, they need leadership. And the good news is that's exactly what this room is capable of. The same people fighting to maintain and preserve our rights are the same people that are strong enough to pass it on. That's who we are. And all of that responsibility, it doesn't just belong to the adults in this room. The next generation that shares that responsibility with us carries just as much weight. So I want to talk to that generation, but I see a few of them other than my kids, but where are they? There's one. They should be here. Because I know a lot of us in here, we want to feel young enough to be that generation, but that next generation has to be here. Now look at me. You're not too young to carry this responsibility. When you demonstrate maturity, discipline, and humility, you're proving that your generation is trustworthy and to carry on our rights. You're not just learning a skill, you're preparing to lead, and leadership doesn't grow on its own. It grows when someone invests in it. And when you show that you're serious about it, people will invest in you. So I want to wrap this up. I'll bring this back around to something very simple. Freedom is a gift from God. But it doesn't sustain itself. It survives when ordinary families decide to be intentional. When parents take the time, when mentors stay patient, and when standards remain high. When young people rise to meet them. It's not complicated. So when we train responsibly, if we teach them clearly, if we model discipline, if we welcome the next generation with both standards and encouragement, freedom doesn't weaken, it strengthens. Not because we shouted louder, but because we prepared better. The next generation doesn't need hype, they need leadership. And looking around this room, I see exactly that leadership. So let's keep showing up. Let's keep setting the example. Because if freedom is one generation away, that weight's on our shoulders. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. So, did you guys see the food drive? Did anyone participate in it?
Yeah.
Because it looks like you guys did. So this is our third year doing this, and I kind of coined it. We attended an event at the Florida Firearms Academy. My buddy Thomas King in Tampa. He's got some awesome giveaways here. We're going to be doing that in a little bit. When he did this event, let me move this out of the way because it's annoying. When he did the event, he had a food drive, and it was incredible. So it inspired Sarah and I when we left. So this is our third year doing it. The first year we did it, I think it was 350 meals that you guys were able to give. Second year, we doubled it. Well, this year I think we kind of blown it out of the water. I want to introduce Mike, Josh, and this wouldn't be possible without Bobby Williams. Bobby, you want to come up here, please? Josh will go first.
Hey, I'm Josh O'Leary. I'm a pastor at Denellen Community Church, and we're one of the people that are going to be taking and giving the loaves and the fishes that you guys have given us today, and we are going to be passing it out to the community in Citrus County and in Marion County. So yeah, we're partnering with Citrus Community Church. So Mike, he's one of the elders over there.
You know, I sat back there for 3 years now, watching people give speeches, watching young men walk in this room, young ladies. The young man that was here just a minute ago, he walked over to our table, focused. There was no hesitation in what he was doing. He knew what he wanted to get. He went straight at it. You and me have got to give those young people a goal to achieve, to reach for. You can have all the morality in the world you want. Without Jesus, it doesn't matter. Without purpose, your life will falter. Young people are searching for purpose and reason. Us, as adults that look back at our lives, see where we failed, we can lift this generation to places we never were. When I was a kid in school, you were told, no, don't do it. You were never given a reason. It was just don't do it because bad. That was generally enough. Put fear of God in you. So,
Or they let you do it and you learned once.
right. Or you saw your older brother get it and go, hey, that don't. Ain't go in there. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for your generosity. Our food pantry operates every other Monday. We're feeding somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 families every other Monday for enough food to last them a couple of weeks. And it is amazing what God does. This group of people are the most generous people in the world. Give yourselves a hand for how you live.
So, real quick, when I met Bobby, a month and a half ago, I think it was, and it was a campaign event, Meet the Candidates event, and I was talked into speaking. I'm not a candidate, so that was pretty wild. But he said to me, he's like, hey, we need to talk after the fact. And he said, we can help with this food drive. we could do some amazing things. And so, yes, we left there excited, but kind of apprehensive. How many politicians let you down? Now you know why. So we left there, and after, the thing was, it wasn't that Bobby said it and I'd hear from him again. No, we stayed in constant communication. And then I looked into what he was doing, and I knew it wasn't campaign speak. This is what he's been doing for years. This is nothing new. This isn't because he's running for governor. So Bobby, this was huge, and next year, you've got a lot of work to do to top this now.
Hey, sir, right here on the third row, on the end. Come up here for a second. If you don't mind. Yes, sir. The reason why you're a billboard. I want you can face me. Y'all read the back of his shirt what it says? You reap what you sow, right? So most people in the world believe in karma, but karma comes from the gospel, reaping what you sow, and from Genesis to Revelation. So sometime in your life you're going to have a need. You may need food, you may need money, you may need anything. But what happens is you don't get it a lot of times because you never sowed it. So you got to learn just like these kids. If you don't sow in the next generation, what do we get? Nothing. So if we sow nothing, guess what we get? So you got to learn to be a giver. You got to learn to start reaping. You reap what you sow. So you need to check your life, whether it's the Second Amendment here, how much time you're giving, how much you're helping, what kind of knowledge are you giving. You got to sow something. Don't sit there and be bewildered when you don't receive nothing because you haven't given nothing. So that's the reason why I look for every opportunity I can. I started a carport in 2016, feeding 5 to 10 homeless people. Last month we moved over 1 million pounds of food. We can literally get semis show up every day.
How much food do you move or donate per year? Because I read something that's wild.
We average about 22.5 million pounds.
That's insane.
A year. Since COVID, we're doing over 100 million pounds.
Next year, we're going to try to get, what, 10 million pounds here?
Yeah, whatever you want.
All right, guys, seriously, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys made this an absolute success.
Glad to help.
Thank you, Bobby. When we're talking about, I hate using the word diversity, and Gina and Amanda were talking about it, and we used to have a panel called Diversity Panel, but I felt like I was putting my friends on display, like, oh, look, here's my black friend, here's my trans friend. They're my friends. They're not titles to me. So when we're promoting this event, I had a comment on Facebook that I guess no black people are allowed here. I guess no protesters are allowed here. I guess that exercise their Second Amendment right. Simple question. Did you look at our guest speaker list? Did you see who was here? I want to introduce Tina Richardson. She's doing some amazing stuff in the state where I grew up. I was born and raised in the South. Okay, South Jersey though. But she's in North Jersey. Actually, she grew up, born and raised where my family came from, Newark, New Jersey. So Tina, come on up here. You're doing some amazing stuff.
I like how that sounds. Okay. Hi, my name is Valentina. I am from Newark, New Jersey. Has anybody ever heard of the wonderful place called Newark, New Jersey? By a show of hands. Yeah, it's not necessarily a place people call a vacation spot, but it is the place that I call home. So, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife sometimes. All right, because I move around a lot. I like to come to the front, I like to be with the people. So, I'm a mom, a sister, a wife, a daughter. I also work in government. Yeah, it's all cool. So, work hard, service to people. That's how I was raised, that's how I was trained. And when you talked about when your parents told you to do something, you just did it. That was me. My father is a disabled Army veteran. He is a police officer. I didn't touch a gun until 2021. And that was pretty much because my father said, you see this, this, and this, don't touch. I didn't touch, but I watched. So in 2021, I had to figure out a way to manage the chaos the world was putting on me. As he said, you see, I'm brown. I am a woman, but I'm also a shooter. I didn't become a shooter until August 2021, but I became a shooter because I needed to manage the chaos. I got into firearms for stress management. That's it. It's not that anybody physically did harm to me. They were emotionally trying to attack me. They were spiritually trying to attack me, but it wasn't physical, because I am larger than your average bunny. I am. So a friend of mine took me to a local range in New Jersey, gave me an instruction, put the firearm in my hand. The minute that cartridge left that firearm, it was like all of the weight of the world left my body. And I was like, more. And did it again. That was the beginning for me. So I was on this journey. I gotta figure out how I gotta do this. Go online, research. I was interrogating people, and I'm a good interrogator. I found out how to get my license. I didn't realize that 8 months was unusual because, like I said, I work in government, and government moves at its own pace. So I waited, I was patient. I finally got it. I went shopping. I like to shop. Most women do. I went into a gun store. The first person that showed me a firearm was a woman. So I thought it was normal. Oh, she was knowledgeable, she was friendly, she was welcoming. I didn't feel judged when I walked in there, and I left out of there. My first firearm was a Glock 45. I still carry it to this day. So I went shopping again. I went into this, I went online, I Googled, and I said, I get a place close to me. So I found this wonderful place. It's like Disneyland in New Jersey. Anybody here ever heard of Gun for Hire? Never heard of it. Never heard of it, right? So I walked into the store, I looked around, everybody wonderful, nice, inviting, knowledgeable, but I didn't see anybody that looked like me. I was like, oh, this is, okay. I went a few more times, like I told you, I like to buy stuff, so I went a few more times. But I didn't see anybody that looked like me. And on that day, there was this gentleman that was there, Anthony Calandro, I think his name is. I went up to him and we had a conversation. And I told him what I saw. And he was like, why don't you come work here? I was like, okay. I got another 2 hours in that day. Mom, wife, employed. I became a range safety officer. I decided that day that I wanted to be the face so that when women came into that range, they saw a face like mine, they felt safe, they felt seen. That's it. So I was in there rocking and rolling. Wonderful people I had opportunity to meet. Black, brown, white, green, purple hair, I didn't care. I was gonna make sure that they were safe and they had a good time when they're in that range and they was gonna come back. And they did. Years passed, and I was learning as I went, because remember, 2021, that's not that long ago. 2024, I said, you're not doing enough. I'm only getting the people that were brave enough to come to this range. I wanted to touch the people outside. So I found it Naturally Armed. The minute God placed me on this earth, it was my destiny to share the love and the education behind firearms with the world. So I founded my organization to educate, encourage, empower, and repeat. So that when women stepped into this space, or any other space, because firearms saved me, but firearms may not be your thing. And that's okay. I don't understand, but it's okay. I don't get it. Everybody don't like guns. So I have a lot of goodness, but whatever. But it was to empower and encourage women and children. I go as young as 8 because the minute you can teach somebody not to touch the socket is the minute you teach them about firearm safety and you introduce them to this wonderful world. That's how I believe. So I did that, started the organization. So I do workshops, I do one-on-ones, I go state to state. Anybody want me in their state, all you gotta do is give me a call. I'll be there. Because I have been deciding that you need to see a face that looks like mine. You need to hear from a voice like mine. Your state might be cool right now. Might be, Virginia. But in a blink of an eye, you could be like New Jersey or on the way to New Jersey. So this fight is not a one and done. It's not a one and done. So I want to talk about advocacy. I didn't realize that I was becoming an advocate the day I took that job at Gun for Hire. The day I decided that I saw something and it didn't sit right in my heart and my spirit, I did something about it. That's being an advocate, okay? Very simple things you can do to be an advocate. And most of you know this because you're doing one or multiple of these things. But when you're having conversations with people, because conversations is also advocacy, that conversation when you're at a local church, that conversation when you're at a restaurant, a family gathering, and somebody says something ridiculous and uninformed about firearms. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but do you know this? And then you hit them, bam, bam, bam. Everybody is not going to be a gun person. We just want to make them not an anti-gun person. That's it. That's it. So you can do things like this. I'm going to give you some examples. You can be a person that goes to testify. You can be a person that goes to your local, your county, your municipal, your state meetings and voices your opinion. You can be somebody that testifies. You can be that person that donates their money. Support those who support you, because this shit not free. It's very expensive to be here. And most of us that came here came on our own dime. How many people paid for their own ticket? Yeah. Like I said, I got a couple of jobs. So support those who support you. And that doesn't just mean at the national level. Not that I don't love the NRA, I do. Women's for Gun Rights, ANJRPC, I'm talking about New Jersey stuff. But you gotta start grassroots. Change happens at home. Naturally Armed is a grassroots organization. www.naturallyarmed.online. So you gotta, that's another way that you can get into this world. Money, because everybody can't do this. Everybody can't fly in, everybody can't do this. You can do that. So you can go testify, you can give money, you can have conversations, you can do all of those things. One or all. Or you can be like me and just be all over the world, all over the place. That's me, that's my type A personality. So I'm gonna end it up because there were a lot of wonderful speakers, something simple when I'm talking to the women and the men that come to my events. Now, I don't want you to think that men are not invited to my events. They are more than welcome to come. I just tell them they're there for eye candy. So if you're good with being eye candy, come on to a Naturally Armed event. So, something simple, and you can share this with somebody that's not in this room. I want you to repeat after me. See something. See something. Say something. Say something. Do something. Do something. Repeat. Repeat. That's it. That's all you have to tell people. When you see something that's not right, say something. When you find a way to do something, do it. And then repeat it. Okay? Freedom is not a one and done thing. Freedom is fought for every day. And even within that day, every conversation, every interaction, every opportunity, you gotta fight for freedom. You gotta do it. So, see something, say something, do something, repeat. My name is Valentina. I'm the founder of Naturally Armed. And so, now are you, Naturally Armed. Thank you.
All right, we're running a little behind. Lunch will be done in a minute. So I'm gonna introduce my buddy Mike up here with Sticky Holsters. Anyone go visit his booth yet? Yeah. All right. Mike, come on up, buddy. Mike has been a huge supporter of this event. I'm gonna cut you off real quick. Huge supporter of this event. And I thank you, because you were everywhere throughout the country here. You made it here. Still on the road.
Hi guys. Thank you for everybody that's already been Sticky in the last couple of years. We hope you've come to the dark side with us. Thank you. Those that haven't seen it, stop by when you get a chance. Bobby said something about giving, so let's do some giving. $603-638-638, last three. Oh, I'm sorry. Please pull out your blue raffle tickets. Sorry. 638, last three. 638. Anybody?
There's gotta be somebody.
Bueller. 603-638. 603-589. 589. All right, here we go. I'll keep that. Meet me at my booth. 603-707. 707. Just hang on to it. Meet me at the booth. Thank you. $692. 692. All right. See you at the booth. Thank you. 604. 604. Good. We're hot, maybe. 592. 592. All right. 632. 632. Pardon? How many you want? Okay. Oh, I'm gonna call those. 673. 673. And just meet me at the booth. I'm sorry? Thank you. 604. I do not see a 608. Okay, no 608. Sorry about that. Yeah, we'll be good. 670. 670. 670. All right. Cool, guys. I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.
Awesome. Did anyone go to the Denellen Christmas parade? Okay. Did anyone get a raffle ticket from the Denellen Christmas parade? No? I'm going to put this in here right now. So our next panel here is going to be our legal experts, which is going to be Eric Friday and James Phillips, wherever he's at. There he is. Eric, come on, buddy.
All right, James told me I could go first and talk as much as I wanted to, so I'm going to start with this. Keith Jenkins, can you come up here, please? He's coming up here for this one. Who here is glad that we now have the right to open carry in Florida? Sean Crown, will you stand up for me real quick? The big guy in the back with the Florida carry shirt on, he had an idea in 2010 that we were going to bring open carry back to Florida. He talked a guy that was 6 years out of law school into volunteering to help that effort. So we started an organization called Florida Carry. And we started out with the idea of these open carry fishing events because we wanted to normalize the right to open carry, and it was the only way that our government in this state would let us open carry at the time. Keith Jenkins right here and 5 other men were brave enough to go to one of those open carry fishing events on the South Point Pier in Miami Beach in June of 2018. They were approached and held at gunpoint by law enforcement. I've still got Keith's GoPro where you can hear his heartbeat escalate as he had a gun pointed at him by 4 Miami Beach police officers. He spent an hour and 18 minutes in handcuffs. He was detained for over 2 hours. His gun was disassembled, put in the back of his car, and then when we sued, a federal judge in Miami Beach, I'm going to shock you, she was an Obama appointee, said, oh, it's just an affirmative defense. You don't really have a right to open carry in the state, even if you're doing one of the things the government said you could open carry while doing. You can still be arrested, you can still be thrown in a jail cell, you can still have to go to court the next day, post a bond, and then fight to prove that you were doing something that was not illegal. I will tell you that every police officer on that pier that was open carry was committing the exact same crime, because in the same statute, is where it was an affirmative defense for those cops to carry. Now, those 6 men that did that, we brought 50 plus people back to South Point Pure a few months later. We were going to walk through downtown Miami Beach, and we weren't just doing holstered pistols anymore because we were tired of the Parkland laws. We were tired of the double standard. We were tired of how this was going. Miami Beach gave us free parking for that event. They gave up their $20 a spot parking fees for that day to let us park there so that we wouldn't walk through downtown Miami Beach. They also tried to embed undercover officers with us to try and catch us doing something wrong and to surreptitiously record us. They put Keith on a list because of his advocacy. I'm hoping he's hearing me. There was a gentleman who, after the Bruen decision in late June of 2022, decided he was going to take the same type of stand that Keith Jenkins had taken. Keith was at least able to call me that morning when that was going down. This gentleman did it all on his own. His name was Stan McDaniels. He was running for county commission in Escambia County, Florida. So he realized, he read Bruen, he understood what Bruen meant. Even if a black-robed judge in Escambia County couldn't read Bruen, he could read Bruen better than she could. He didn't even have a legal degree. So he stood on a street corner in downtown Pensacola, had a copy of the Pocket Constitution in his left hand. He was waving with his right hand, and he was live streaming it, what he was doing. He was breaking Florida law. Now, a lot of people say, hey, if you don't like the law, go change it. Go vote and elect people that'll change it. We tried that. We spent 15 years trying that. We spent 15 years talking to Republican legislators that said, I'm pro-gun when they were running for election. But when they got to Tallahassee, they wouldn't put the action behind their words. And there's a lot of those in Tallahassee right now. We have a bill sitting in the Florida Senate that will restore the right to carry or purchase a firearm to 18 to 20-year-olds. And it's stalled because a Republican senator won't bring it up for a vote. No. But Stan McDaniels took a stand that day, and he went to court, and the judge said, well, I don't really like this idea of open carry, so I'm not going to let him have his case dismissed and restore this right. He's going to trial. Stan McDaniel stood trial. He was convicted. And he had to wait years for an appeal for the appellate court to finally, once and for all, say, on September 10th, 2025, Florida's ban on open carry is unconstitutional. During that entire time period, Stan was deprived of his right to bear arms. So he stood up for everybody in this room, and he was deprived of his right to bear arms for that entire time. And I've had him on the phone while I've been speaking this morning so that he could hear this, and I want everybody in this room to say, thank you, Stan. Thank you, Stan. James Phillips with the firearm firm, Katz & Phillips, are also the lawyers for U.S. Law Shield here. U.S. Law Shield and Katz & Phillips have contributed more than I will ever be able to tell you to this fight. We have 2.4 million concealed carry licensees in the state. That doesn't even begin to recognize the people who are now carrying without a license concealed because they don't need to, because of Florida Carry's work, with some help from U.S. Law Shield. That doesn't include the people who just keep one in the car, who just keep one in their bedside table, who don't want to carry every day. And that's fine, that's their choice. I don't expect anybody to carry just because they don't want to. I expect them to let me have the right. I expect them to let you have that right. But y'all, if I could just get a $5 donation from each of the 2.4 million concealed carry holders in this state to Florida Carry, It would change what we were able to do. It would change what cases we could litigate. It could change what we could do to legislate, and it would change what we can do to educate. I said those in a reverse order, but Florida Carry has always focused first on education, then legislation, and then litigation. But we cannot do it without you. We cannot do it without your family members. Now, that's the money part. If you haven't joined Florida Carry, it's $25 a year is our lowest membership. We need your support. We need your membership. We need your money. It is difficult to do this, period. It is impossible to do it without money. Now, that's the money part. Question, who in this room does not live in Marion County? All right. So that means there are people here that have state reps and state senators that are not the ones here in Marion County for Stephen Shives. Stephen's cousin, Ryan Chamberlain, is one of our state reps. He's solid. We don't have to worry about him. If Ryan Chamberlain is your state rep, call him, tell him thank you, but just know he's doing some of the heavy lifting. There are others that are not doing the heavy lifting. Every member of the Florida House of Representatives is running for re-election right now. They have a primary in August, they have an election in November. If you don't know who your state rep is, if you don't know who your state senator is, Tina said, see something, say something, do something. That's the first step. Who is your representative up there in Tallahassee? If you live more than an hour away from Tallahassee, it's hard to get over there and speak. But they come home. They live in your district. You can meet them there. You need to meet them there, and you need to make sure that your family that lives in some other county in Florida is also meeting their representative. If you're not meeting them beforehand, they're not going to listen to you when it's time to put the pressure on them later. You need to be at these campaign events. You need to join your local political committees. We need you letting your reps and your state senators know that you expect them to not just vote right, but to do right, to sponsor legislation. We've got Bobby Williams here running for governor. I can tell you there were other people invited. Some of them had scheduling conflicts. Some of them just don't think it's important. Some of them think they're way ahead in the race.
Some were told no.
Some were told no. But we have to connect with the candidates in the primary. Because here's the thing. Almost every Republican in this state does not have an opponent or a credible opponent in the general election. They have opponents in the primary. In the primary is where Matt the Welder is going to face Wilton Simpson, not the general. We have to get engaged in the primary. We have to make sure that, because frankly, I'm sorry, the Democrat Party right now is lost in Florida. We hope we will get them back at some point. When I started, I had at least 2 Democrats I could count on in the Florida legislature. I don't have one right now. So, Florida Carry does not care about Republican, Democrat. We care about your position on guns. I will get a Democrat elected in a heartbeat if I've got an anti-gun Republican on the other side. But we need you engaged before these primaries. We need you to get written email commitments from these candidates that are running in a primary. Get an email to them, to their campaign, and get them on the record on paper. And if they're not willing to go on the record on paper, you got your answer. However, you always have a second chance. Because when those bills come up in committee, when they start getting emails from y'all, it matters. I sat there and watched a legislator in the Florida legislature call back to his office and ask for an email count about how many emails they got. And it changed his vote right there at the last minute. So when you are on Florida Carry's mailing list, even if you're not a paid member, and we ask you to send an email, it's that important. It matters. All right. Now I am going to make James get up here and talk talk for a minute because I want y'all to understand this. James and David at Katz Phillips, they do amazing work. I could not be doing half the cases I am doing right now if Katz and Phillips and I hadn't started co-counseling on some stuff. We could not be having this event if Katz and Phillips weren't involved in this fight. They are the reason that Florida Carry Florida Carry was asked for years, will you sponsor with USCCA? Will you sponsor with this other company? Will you sponsor with this other company? And the answer was always no. Florida Carry finally did enter into a partnership with US Law Shield because Katz and Phillips were their attorneys here and showed me what they were doing and showed me that it was about believing in our right, not just making money. It really was about making sure that if you have to use a firearm in self-defense in this state or wherever in this country, they would be there. So I'm going to make James come up now, and I'm going to get out of the way, and he's going to explain to you about Katz and Phillips and about US Law Shield. If you carry a firearm and you don't have some type of insurance to cover you for that, I will just tell you you're putting yourselves in danger. I know George Zimmerman personally. I've gotten to know Kyle Rittenhouse personally. Those guys, thank God for them. Thank God they were both found innocent. But it costs a lot if you ever do have to use that gun. And before I got one other person before James. I've been coming to. Oh no!
I should have never been an attorney and Mike in front of a camera.
Stop. Throughout this fight, there's a person who stood by me, been by my side. She has sacrificed a lot of time, raising children. My wife Jennifer has come to Freedom Fest for the first time in 9 years, and thank you, baby, for everything that you have done to support this fight.
All right, can you hear me? Everybody in the back hear me? All right, for those of you that don't know me, I'm James Phillips. I am with Katz and Phillips, like Eric said. I know some of you are nervous because another attorney has a microphone and we're close to lunchtime. Don't fret, I'll be quick. You know, one thing I really want to touch on is being proactive in organizations. Florida Carry, Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation. Because as we've seen here in Florida, politicians don't always get the job done. 15 years to get. Is this better?
Yeah.
Wow, much better. So, as I was saying, politicians don't always get the job done. It's taken 15 years for open carry to come to the state of Florida, where it should have been here the whole time. The politicians didn't do it. It took attorneys going to the courtroom to fight. It took a patriot to go out on the streets in Escambia County and sacrifice himself as far as getting arrested and prosecuted to make it happen. Organizations out there like Gun Owners of America, Florida Carry, they do litigate. I will tell you, before the McDaniels case came out, I was involved with a federal litigation with Gun Owners of America and Richard Hughes down in the Southern District of Florida federal courts fighting for open carry. Now, Eric made my job a lot easier when the McDaniels decision came out. But what GOA was able to do in the federal case, and we were suing St. Lucie Sheriff and the 19th Judicial Circuit State Attorney Thomas Badaket, or however he says his name. Back it up. What we were able to do after the McDaniels case is we were able to enter into agreement with two state agencies, state attorney and the sheriff, agreeing that open carry falls under the plain context of the Second Amendment, that is presumptively protected by the Second Amendment, and that is in essence the law of the land, and that they will not prosecute. So we have not only a state case, the first DCA, the McDaniels, but we also have now the federal court stepping in and approving open carry for the state of Florida. The whole point is, sometimes you gotta take the fight to the courts. And to do that, you gotta have backing. It's hard to have one individual, as far as civil courts go, file a lawsuit, prosecute it to the fullest, and get a resolution because it costs a lot of money. But when you join these organizations like Florida Carry, like Gun Owners of America, there's safety in numbers. And you are combining your income, even if it's just $1 here or there, to help fight litigation. Because again, the politicians don't always get the job done, and it's time to take it to the courtrooms and make the courts do it.
So if you want to be proactive, be active in these organizations. Go out there and fight. There's also different groups out there. U.S. Law Shield, we get involved in litigation too. As Eric said, I am one of the attorneys for U.S. Law Shield here in the state of Florida. These organizations not only protect you when you find yourself in a situation where you have to defend yourself, but they also are proactive in legislation and going to the courts and fighting. So be active. Listen, if we let the government take our rights away, it's a lot harder to get them back. So we need to fight, protect them before they try and take them. All right? So that's all I got. I think it's time for lunch. Almost time for lunch.
I know I'm gonna make a mistake for the third time, but I'm gonna give an attorney a microphone again in front of my camera. There is someone here missing. You go for it.
I don't know if that's working or not.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. So one of the original founders of Florida Carry was a gentleman named Scott Wickham. Scott was one of the founders also of Panther Concealment, one of the sponsors of this event. Scott on Thursday before Father's Day in June this past year lost a long battle with his health with an infection that had plagued him from his, honestly going all the way back to his service, originally in rescue swimmer training for the Navy, and then later became a P3 crewman when that injury kept him from being a rescue swimmer. Scott dedicated more hours to this fight than y'all will ever know. A lot of those hours were driving me back and forth to Tallahassee, because when I come down off of an oral argument in the court, I'm generally ready to just go to sleep. And so we send a prayer for Scott and his wife. We've lost too many patriots. He's actually one of 2 board members we lost this year. The other was Shirley Wittrell.
And Steve.
And Steve right before that. So y'all, we just want to take a minute to recognize Scott, recognize his commitment, his service to this fight, and thank you for recognizing him, Kevin.
We miss him great. All right, are you guys hungry? Yeah. Okay, so we got food in the back there. While you guys are eating, go check out the vendors, do your deal. We're gonna be back here in about 45 minutes. And we got tons of giveaways to do, and don't forget, we got the 50-50 raffle, so see Amanda if you guys want to participate in that. So I want to invite Craig DeLuz back up here, and Patrick is out there by the ammo booth. He'll be up here in a second as well. But you wanna grab the mic, brother? So Eric and I talked about missing our good buddy Scott Wickham. We're missing another dude. Is that on?
Testing. All right.
There you go.
So the first time I came out here, I shared a tent with a guy who was from Detroit. So he too was from behind enemy lines.
Behind enemy lines.
Behind enemy lines. He was a brother. His name was Rick Ector. And when I say brother, he wasn't just a brother.
His name is Rick Ector.
Huh?
His name is
Rick Ector, yes. He's not just a brother, he's a brother. When I say that, I mean, this was a guy who, if you never heard his story, what got him into gun rights was he literally got robbed in his own driveway. And that's what got him into gun rights. That's where he realized that, this is not just about, some esoteric right out there. It's not about hunting, but it's literally about your right to self-defense. And so here he is. He decided to go out and he He educated himself, he became a trainer, and then started an organization, started an organization called Legally Armed in Detroit.
Laid.
So every time I go, hey man, I need to come out there, man, so I can get laid. I need to come out to Detroit so I can get laid.
Well, the crazy thing is, I'll touch on what Craig is hitting on. So Rick goes and buys a gun after getting one stuck in his face, buys a Glock,
Yes.
19. He told me the story, sitting at his kitchen table, he's got the gun box open, looking at it and going, now what? So he went and did some training. He was invited by Ken Blanchard, black man with a gun, Reverend Ken Blanchard, to Ohio, or Kentucky for Gun Rights Policy Conference. And his whole thing was, you want me to go to Kentucky, a black man? I don't know. He decided to do it. His family and friends kind of talked him out of doing it. Then he decided, you know what, I have a gun, I'm gonna go. And that changed everything. And it was not long after that, he became a firearms instructor with Ken Blanchard. I guess he was his, TC, yep. At that point, not long after that, is when a woman was raped, murdered, and dumped down the roof of his house. You want to go on that? What happened next?
So yes, unfortunately, that young lady had an encounter that did not wind up well for her. She was essentially butchered, raped, and left in a trash can not too far from where he lived at. And from there, he decided to take action. He was like, I cannot sit here and allow this to happen to anybody in society, not to mention a young lady who essentially was defenseless in that situation.
So he decided to do something. So he went on Facebook and he posted, any women that want to meet me at the range, you can shoot, I'll provide the gun, I'll provide the ammo. And that started, I think he had, what, 14 women, I think, was the first time? And then he built it every year. In 2021,
yes,
I went to Detroit to help with that event. And this is wild. Guess how many women were trained? I can't say trained, introduced to firearms at that event. So it was a 2-day event. Can anyone take a wild guess how many women came through that course? 500. You ready? How many? 1,938 women.
To kind of tell you the level of respect and how respected Rick was, firearms trainers from all over the country flew into Detroit on their own dime to train these women.
Yep.
I mean, and every year, by the way, that event still takes place. He still puts that event on, and it is a testament, because so often we keep asking, we look at we're saying, well, why doesn't FPC do this, or why doesn't NRA do this, or why doesn't Florida Carry do this? And this was an example of a guy who like saw a need, and instead of waiting for someone else to do it, he did it.
Yep. So when I met Rick in 2016 at Gun Rights Policy Conference in Tampa, he's the one that inspired me to get active. And this is why you guys are all here, because this is Rick. This isn't me. This stems from Rick. That seed that was planted, that was Rick. And then I met this guy same time.
Yep. Anyway, so Rick isn't here.
Nope.
Well, he's still
Rick's here.
He's here. He's not here.
Yeah, Rick suffered a devastating stroke.
Yeah. So throughout the course of Rick's adventures in the two-way world, he had suffered a stroke shortly after 2016. I think it was the first one. And for those of you guys that do not know, strokes are detrimental. Okay, you might recover enough to survive and talk, and continue on. However, this I believe is Rick's third stroke.
I believe so.
And it's unfortunately this stroke, the Rick that we knew, the boisterous, loud, fun to be around, awesome man, is not in that same presence anymore.
I think we just wanted to just come up and just share a little bit about Rick, about who he was and his role in this event, just because as much as we appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all my friends who are here, it's just not,
It's not the same.
It's not the same. He is missed. What I appreciate though is his spirit, the spirit of what he wanted to do is here. When I get a chance to talk with each one of you about, you know, what you want to see and why you're here in Florida and what you're getting out of this event, I can see that that Rick's spirit, what Rick wanted to happen is happening. But I didn't want you to just think it just happens just because. I didn't want you to think that it happened just because of us. But the ones you to understand the importance that Rick has played in all of our lives as well as in this event.
So, funny thing with Rick is Rick came and camped with us in 2019. I was in Phoenix. I'm like, Rick, you gotta come down here. You gotta be a part of this event. So we did. And he's like, I'm a black guy from Detroit coming down. I'm gonna camp in the woods in Florida. This is crazy. We had a blast. And as we're walking into Rainbow Springs Park,
there is now imagine a black guy from California, a black guy from Detroit. We walk in and there's a big, huge sign, yellow sign says, "Welcome to Cracker Weekend."
I didn't plan it.
I mean, literally, I was speechless. And we took pictures with the sign.
Yeah, we did, we got pictures.
But anyway, it was just hilarious. And that was the other thing. Rick has a crazy sense of humor.
Yeah, I remember Craig and Rick are in front of us, about maybe 20 feet, and Craig sees the sign, and Craig just stops, and they just look back at me like,
what did you get us into?
But he keeps coming back, so it was good. Everyone survived.
I guess this is Cracker Weekend.
So
trying to come back for it.
I met Patrick here. Actually, Steve and I met Patrick in Denny's in Phoenix with Rick. Escaped for a quick breakfast, and here's Patrick dressed in a nice suit. He looks like Rick's bodyguard. Rick's in jeans and his black laid t-shirt, legally armed in Detroit. And he was done eating, and the waitress comes over and goes, "Are you done?" And Rick goes, "Yes, I'm done." Takes his plate, he's got some bacon left on his plate. And I called Rick out for that because you never let bacon go back, right? You eat bacon. I don't care if you're stuffed, you finish the bacon, right?
Yes, we eat the bacon.
So the waitress and them, as they left, we give each other a big hug. The waitress was like, "Who is that guy?" Meaning Rick. And I went, "You don't know who that is?" She said, "No." I said, "That guy's a rock star. And I mean it, and I'm true. He's a rock star." And she's like, "Really?" I said, "Oh yeah." She's like, do you think he would sign something for me?" I said, "Yeah, go." So this waitress leaves us, runs down the road and catches them on the sidewalk, and you can go.
And that was just an overall funny times. You know, a lot of us had great times with Rick and everything. And yeah, so she runs up and catches us, and you know, of course, gives him a hard time about not finishing the bacon. And I believe there was a picture taken.
There was a picture taken?
I do have a picture.
I don't know if he signed anything.
Yeah.
But she come back and she said, "Is he really a rock star?" I said, "Oh yeah." But let me tell you why. And I told what we just kind of told on how he started. And she was crying and the thing. So the joke was, Steve and I, we made a waitress in Wendy's cry.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I just say a prayer for Rick. I think anything's possible with God, right? So he's not out. He's not down and out yet. So we just wanted to share that with you guys.
Anyway, thank you for obliging us and giving us this opportunity to share just a little bit about who Rick was. And just let you know just the important role that he's played in this.
And the event is still going on with Tanisha.
Yes, the event is still going on. I believe it's either the last
weekend in July.
Last weekend in July.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Awesome, guys. Thank you, guys. Oh, Patrick, you have something. What?
Yes.
What is this?
So, again, it's a bucket of ammo here. 556-223, $5 donation for a guest, and we're gonna give all the money to Kevin. We put that together for him. So please stop by, and before the end of the event, we're going to announce the winner of it. All right? Got some great guesses, so keep it coming.
Oh, our next guest, I think he's the only, second really sexy guy wearing a cowboy hat.
What about you?
And here, Mr. Willis Lee.
I like the sexy guy part.
Well, I looked for, and there was another guy with a cowboy hat, so. Oh, absolutely, brother.
Afternoon, after lunch, everybody's awake. I am Willis Lee. And as billed on your agenda, I was the second vice president of the NRA. Amanda mentioned when we started exposing with the New York AG all the grifting going on at the NRA, they booted my ass out of the chairs, and that effectively started this reform movement that you've seen. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that, but I've got to do a disclaimer. I'm not an NRA officer, so I'm not speaking for the NRA. You'll get nothing official from me on that. The good part is you get my own opinions on what's happening at the NRA. The reform movement. We've got 4 board members here. I'm here serving right now. Anthony Calandro's here, Amanda Suffolk, and where's Scott Emsley's back here. You won't see a lot of NRA board members out in public because some of them, frankly, are just afraid to get out there. We take a lot of abuse because a lot of times even we hate the NRA. But these 3 you'll see in public, and you see them all the time. And they want to hear from you. They want to know what you know. They want to hear what you think about the NRA and how we can make it better. So hats off to those guys and all of the other representatives of national and state groups who are willing to come into atmospheres like this and get some good feedback and some bad feedback. So appreciate it. Now, I don't represent the NRA, but I do go to a lot of NRA events. So typically, what I've got. Anybody NRA sipper cup? Go for it. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. Kevin, I've got one. Where's Kevin? I've got one for you in particular. Hey, NRA hat. This one's going to Kevin. And this one, interesting, our theme is bringing the Second Amendment back to we the people. Theme is bringing this back to we the people. And this is an NRA hat with we the people monogrammed on it. Kevin, thanks for this event. Look, you guys, this is not easy. None of this is easy. When we find organizers, Kevin's mentioned Rick Ector. We're trying to spread what Rick does to other cities. We're trying to spread what Kevin does here to other cities to bring more people in. So when we talk about bringing the Second Amendment back to we the people, that's us. And I'm not challenging any of you, and you've heard it from Tina, you've heard it from others. I'm not challenging you to go walk the halls of your legislature, to donate to all the national firearms groups, to support your state associations here in Florida, with the Shooting Association and Florida Carry, or your local organization. You already do it because we're here. The challenge is for each of you to get other people involved. That's how we bring this back to we the people. Earlier today, we mentioned having enough firepower to get our rights back. Generally, where that falls right now is number 60. And it's 60 senators who will vote to end debate on the gun bill, which today would give us national reciprocity if we could do that. So the point being, not R is a gun supporter, not every R is a gun supporter. Not every gun supporter is willing to get up on the floor for our rights. So it makes a difference. And here in Florida, what you're dealing with, as we mentioned earlier, you have an overwhelming Republican team. And there's still stuff we can't get through in Florida. So that's incumbent not on us, we're here. That's incumbent getting everybody else out there. Now, the gorilla in the room, as far as gun rights goes, NRA is still the gorilla in the room. We're now working with everybody. We have a new leadership team. It's not the old guys, it's not the grifters. So we're working with GOA and SAF and FPC. I'm a life member of all those groups too, including Florida and New York and the rest of it. We have to all work together, and that's how we're gonna make this happen. It's important when we show up that you know that as a team, we can make this happen. We're winning a lot of judicial battles in the courts right now. And that's because not only NRA, that's because of FPC, SAF, and GOA's involved. And that's important. And here in Florida, we're winning more and more pro-Second Amendment elections because Florida Shooting Sports and Florida Carry can work together to make that happen with NRA and GOA and FPC to make that happen. So it's crucial. The big elephant, though, is still going to be the NRA. We've got 170 programs. How many of you are firearms instructors? Yeah, that's what I thought. There's a good bunch. Anybody ever taken an NRA firearms course, like to get your concealed carry permit or otherwise? Women on Target, Eddie Eagle for your children, Refuse to Take a Victim. We've got programs everywhere. On Capitol Hill, NRA was the only organization on our side of the fight who had a lobbyist noted as one of the top 100 lobbyists in the nation by The Hill, a leftist media group. And in fact, we had two. And that's important because they're carrying our message up on the Hill. We're also involved in several cases that you'll see go before the Supreme Court to keep our Second Amendment rights back to us. So all of that's important. That's the big elephant in the room. So I'm asking you to support NRA, support GOA, support SAF, support your local gun groups. Go to the range, go shoot. Somebody mentioned, Tina Richardson mentioned just going and just having that stress release. That's the best kind of release you can have. And it's fun. And if you get in a competition, that's fun too. So my message for you is not for you to necessarily go vote and support. The challenge is for you to get others to come join us and go out and do the support. So look, I'll be around. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. I'll be around for the afternoon. If you got questions or love or hate, then bring it towards us. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, buddy. We're getting close to winding up. We got a couple more guest speakers. But Amanda's back there somewhere. She still has, I think, a whole bunch of tickets. If you guys are still interested, 5 for $5. So our next guest speaker was born and raised in the South. All right, South Jersey, I guess, a little bit. All right, Tony, you want to come up here?
Yeah, Tony.
How you doing? My name is Tony Simon. I'm from the Second Amendment is for Everyone Diversity Shoot. So when I say diversity shoot, most people get the hackles up because, oh my God, it's that blue left-leaning, politically correct speech. Well, let me explain something to you. I went to summer school 3 years for English. I don't understand that crap, so I'm just going ahead and tell you. Diversity for me is diversity of thought, diversity of perception, diversity of perspective. It's not because somebody looks a certain way it makes it diverse, it's because you think differently it makes it diverse. I started the Second Is for Everyone Diversity Shoot after pretty much New Jersey forced me to become a Second Amendment advocate. 2012, I became a firearms instructor. There's some lady in here, her name is Anthony Calandro. She runs a range in New Jersey called Gun for Hire. I'm triggered. You should be triggered. So I went to Gun for Hire to become a firearms instructor. I became a rifle, pistol, shotgun, range safety officer, did all of that, and I was about on the verge of becoming the greatest firearm instructor the world has ever known. And then there was a shooting in 2012, and New Jersey tried to pass, I think it was 76 anti-gun bills the next day. So I know they thought about it and thought on it and just really wrote dozens of bills in one night. And that's what ticked me off. It really made me angry. So I decided to become an advocate. My partner and I, Sean, sat down and wrote this really eloquent letter. It took almost all day Sunday. His wife was a school teacher. She checked it and made sure, we spelled all the words right. And it went kind of viral. I mean, 50,000 views. People said, hey, can we take this and send it to our representative? Yes. And that started my trip into becoming an advocate. Well, as a firearms instructor, I saw all kinds of people at the range. You've seen them too when you've been here. Black, white, gay, straight, Muslim. Who cares? I mean, really, the categories really annoying you when you have to point them out. They were just human beings. When I went to testify, lily white, looked like a Klan rally. Nothing but I was the only brother there, and I really looked lost. So I was the only Pro 2A dude there, and I'm like, why is that? So I walked to the Second Amendment groups, and I was like, hey, you guys have anything to actually get people that aren't male, white, old, into actually test it? Almost everybody in this room resembles them. And it makes no difference, because you're human beings, and you should. It's not your fault. You're human. Shut up. Stop trying to make people feel guilty for who they are. But my whole point was this. They're all people along the rainbow that they don't testify and fight for their rights. So I went to Anthony, I was like, Anthony's an asshole. I said, Anthony, I'd like to start something to get people here to actually talk about the Second Amendment and how they can testify, but also introduce the firearms. He goes, what about Thursday? Damn! Give me at least 2 weeks. So I went online and I did a thing on Facebook where you create an event. Of course, I learned a very important lesson because I just got on Facebook. People say they'll come and they don't show up. 27 people said they'd show up. Anthony gave me a classroom, which is awesome. Anthony has one of the greatest ranges in the country at Gun for Hire range. He could pack it up any day of the week. He gave me his classroom, classroom A. I'm like, yeah, 27 people said they're gonna come. We're gonna start at 6 o'clock. I can't wait, man. 27, 6 o'clock. Where everybody at? Nobody's here yet. All right, fine, it's cool. All right, 6:15. All right, this is not 6:45. 7:45, no one showed up. I'm looking at Anthony, I'm like, hey, Anthony, I'm sorry I wasted your time. This is, and then 8 o'clock, 4 black people showed up because, it's our time. So, 2 hours late for the event. We had it. And then all of a sudden, the 5th black guy showed up. I never told you this story. 5th black guy showed up, looked like an adult Urkel. Had the sweater vest on, plaid shirt. You know that's weird because they don't sell black people plaid shirts. I tried. He walks in the door and he's like, hey, how you doing, fellow gun enthusiast? Who are you? A friend of John's. I only have 12 friends on Facebook and nobody's named John. Oh, I'm Sergeant so-and-so with the New Jersey Firearms Unit. See, it was February 2015 when I started this, and I called it the Black History Month Diversity Shoot. Seems the state police was real concerned on what I was going to be talking about, so they sent a police officer to check out. So when old 22 Jump Street came in to see what I was doing, thank God some of you laughed and go, no, the show. So he came in, I saw right through it, and it was bullcrap. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm from the state firearms unit. And I was like, cool, you can answer any question these guys have. And he did. Because I said, the whole point of this is to give information and get people to actually be active and know their rights and know how to fight for them. Cool dude, he had actually a 1911, he had a 2011 and 45 ACP from a company some of you might have heard of called STI. This is before Staccato became Staccato. And we shot all of his ammo. We shot everything he had. But that's what started the diversity shoot. And then I went to Anthony and I was like, look, I apologize. I thought 27 people were gonna come. Only 4 people showed up. This is a failure, and I'm sorry to waste your time. Anthony said, oh, you didn't waste my time. You're gonna do it again. And you're gonna do it again, and again, and again, until this room is packed.
Let's go.
So here comes the part about him being an asshole. So when the room's packed, because we didn't charge. We didn't charge anybody. We just wanted you to come out, we wanted you to learn. I gave away swag bags, I did things like that. 85 people showed up one day. How many people does the classroom hold?
About 30.
Yeah, so Then Anthony told me, that, listen, you're gonna have to start selling tickets or something, or limiting the number of people to come, because they were in the hallway, they packed the classroom, they were down the hall, and they had so many cars in the parking lot, people couldn't pull in. So we started limiting it. We only charge $20. When you come to our event, we have raffles, and I started my event off like this. If you grew up on All in the Family, Sanford and Son, if you grew up and watched Blazing Saddles, this is a place for you. All right? We come from a generation that if we loved you, we cared about you, we made fun of you no matter what the heck it was. That's what we did. My whole thing about they, them, their, or whatever the heck, understand, 3 years of summer schools. I can't get those summers back. I'm not using the pronoun thing, taught me wrong. Fine, tell me your name. We don't have to play this game. I love you as a human being. Look, you ain't special. You're you. God makes you special, but outside of that, cut it out. So my whole thing with Diversity Shoot is we need to grow the community, but we don't have to grow the community by pandering to people. You don't. Just be the good human being you are to everybody. That's it. How the hell do you prove you're not a racist? It's the dumbest thing in the world, and if you to try, you fall into a trap. Because let me explain, none of my best friends are black. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't check my friends that way. When I'm posting pictures of diversity shoots, I used to try to get every minority in it, you know, so I could put out the vibe. And it was frustrating to me. These are my friends. Who the hell goes? Yeah, the black friend, let me get him in the picture. The Asian friend, let me get him in. No, it was just, I was taking pictures of my friends that were hosting. We use volunteers. My friends volunteer to work the ports. They bring their guns. I've hooked up with ammunition companies. They donate everybody with gun food. Anyway, they've donated ammo and they shoot it. It costs a lot of money to put on these events. So again, we only charge $20. We also provide pizza. We provide raffle prizes. We do all that because we're trying to bring the community together and let people understand. Most gun owners do not care where you are. You are not bad people, but we have some effed up people in the firearms community that we have to check as gun owners. We got to check the gatekeepers. We got to check the people that says, oh, you own this, so you're not worthy. You know, High Points, this, that, and the other, and you're trashing it. I live in Jersey. I'm from Virginia. Born and raised, 17 years old. I left and joined the Marine Corps. Rob. All right, calm down, guys. But I joined the Corps, I got out of the military, I moved to Jersey. I go to Jersey and it's a totally different firearms culture than I was used to. People have to jump through hoops to get a firearm. People have to go against their family, their loved ones, the people at work, the culture, to get a firearm. You had to put in for the paperwork. When we talk, and a lot of us look at gun YouTube stuff, and you said, you know, $500 gun, $1,000 arsenal, all those videos, people watch them. Understand, if you're in New Jersey, add $200 to $500 to that. All right, we're talking about fees, we're talking about wait times, we're talking about fingerprints, all of that stuff you have to add. So people overcome a lot of things to join the firearms community, and then the thing they want to do, which everybody does, is go online and verify their purchase, right? They want to validate their purchase. Hey, look, I got this. And then out of the blue, some jackhole go, you got that? You might as well not even have a gun. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I host these events so people can go from gun ownership to advocacy at the same time. The gap between my gun ownership and advocacy is 20 freaking years. We cannot wait that long. We need to fight now. This is a cultural war against the things you believe in, including your freedoms. And when we have a-holes in the gun community shutting people down when they're brand new, understand, some black guys are there and everybody in their family goes, everybody at the range is a racist, man, and they're just using you. Then they get there and then people go, you got red anodized parts on your AR? What a noob. Well, thanks a lot, man. My mom won't speak to me because I got this. I have to hide it from my wife. I get here into the community, you say I'm welcome in, and you crap all over it. Come on, brother, free. We got to bring people together, and the way you do it is welcome. You don't have to welcome bad behavior.
You don't have to welcome people that are rude. Shut them down. Be the people that you are. Yes, talk to them, but don't belittle them. Don't talk like they're idiots because they didn't make the purchase you purchased. Look, I want to keep it to one thing. We are great. We're awesome. All of you are here because you believe in the Second Amendment. We got to make it more welcoming, and we got to police our own that tried to not make it welcoming. Second Amendment is a human right. At our events, because we're in North Jersey, 15 minutes outside of New York City, is the most racially, ethnically diverse organ things you can see. I walked down my line and I had 4 Muslims and 1 Port, followed by an old white guy, followed by a lesbian. I didn't know she was a lesbian, she had the shirt on. And she had the shirt on. That was the only way I know. And then you keep going down and we had my boy Nick Wong. He was there instructing the black lady. Black lady was 93 years old. She had on an Erykah Badu African head wrap, and he was teaching her to shoot an AK-47. I was like, this is the most American thing I've ever seen. But that was my event in a nutshell. Your civil rights have to be fought for in every generation. We have to do it. And then we pass it on to these guys. If we fail, they fail, and it goes away. Now, a lot of people go, how did the fight in Jersey? Oh, you guys in Jersey. Understand, we're behind enemy lines, and when you meet a Second Amendment advocate from Jersey, California, Illinois, Maryland, this is the hardcore pro-2A people you will ever meet because we have to fight it all day, every day. When even saying you're a gun owner could get you fired from work, and these people are advocates, yeah. That's the real people. I work for state government. I've gone head to head with Governor Murphy. I've gone head to head with Fat Boy Chris Christie. And I'm sure the super helicopter pilot we have running our state now, every Sunday she starts out, she was a helicopter pilot in the military, regardless of what you're talking about. She almost as bad as Marines. You can't always tell a Marine, but you can't tell them much. It's what we are. But that lady starts off every sentence, I know guns, I was in the military. I'm like, I was in Marine Corps Aviation. I've met many naval aviators. The one thing none of them know are guns. Even in your best movie, Top Gun, they didn't use a firearm. Just saying, that's the Navy culture. Anyway, I'm here to say you people are good people. Stop letting others attack you. You can't prove a negative. Sorry, but if you're not racist, you don't have to prove it. Shut up. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
What you mean, you people? What are you?
One, you people shut up. And you are half of you people, be quiet. What day is it? What's the day?
Saturday.
Date. You don't get to talk anymore, bro. Your half of the month is over. You get the first 14 days. If you don't know, Craig Nix. And I'm evil. And this is the kind of sense of humor we have at our events. Because it's about having fun and bringing people together. Every Second Amendment doesn't have to be, oh God, this person's up there again talking about our rights. No. We have fun. We laugh. We bust each other's chops because we're friends. There's no reason for us not to. All right, guys, if you want to help us out, if you want to donate, because we need all the help we can get, go to diversityshoot.com. We have a bunch of ways to donate. We just try to fight the good fight. I've also hosted events in Pennsylvania, and I work with the Nebraska Firearms Association. I did events out there. So yeah, I'm willing to do events in your state, but we have to set it up and do it the right way, which means clean range, volunteers that are willing to only talk about the Second Amendment at our events. Don't bring up anything else. Yes, Anthony.
How many other locations do you host your events now other than Guns for Hire?
We host events at 4 ranges in New Jersey. Every 2 weeks we host an event. Yeah, we have an event coming Thursday and it's been sold out since the middle of January. So, yes sir.
Did you eat any crayons today?
One, I had hot dogs, they didn't have crayon. I don't know why you bring it up, it's hurtful.
We didn't have crayons on my day. I thought you ate a blue crayon.
No, blue crayons are for special occasions. You know nothing. All right, guys, I really appreciate the talk. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for being with us.
50-50 drawing.
And is gonna blow it away.
Here you go, put my hat. You wanna go? Let's go up here. 50-50 drawing.
Your share, the 50-50, your share is $308. So, okay.
Tony, you want to draw?
Since I didn't get in.
Okay, I'm holding.
Shake that money maker.
Oh, there's somebody else's blue ticket on the floor here. Not that I'm judging, but there's a blue ticket on the floor.
That's mine.
All right, they're all in here.
Okay.
I'll do this.
Yep.
All you, brother.
All right, button up the sleeve.
Nothing up my sleeve.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah, no, up my sleeve. Okay, your ticket, 087-1216 for 308 smackaroonies. Gina! Here we go. $308.
All right.
Somebody double check the number. There you go. Look at that. Wait, we're double checking before, just keep holding on.
We're going to try this out, Mike over there.
There's 16. Okay, 1216. There we go. Congratulations, Gina, Tony, however, or whatever. There you go.
All right, Matt the welder just came up and gave me a ticket. Randy? There you go.
All right, Randy.
You need the ticket? Okay, let's, we have our last guest speaker, then we have a bunch of giveaways. We had, how many people do we have from New Jersey here today? Anyone here from New Jersey? Okay. South Jersey, Tony, Tina, Anthony Clanger, come on up, buddy. Gun for Hire, check him out on YouTube, radio show.
It looks like I'm the last speaker, and I have a script. If I don't follow it, we will be here till tomorrow, because like Tony, I can talk. Right there. Tony really undersells himself, and so does Valentina Green. They do God's work at my range all the time, bringing in people of every size, shape, and color, because unity and activism is definitely a key. Everybody talks about diversity. I'm big unity and activism as well. I'm what's known as an accidental advocate. I was born in Newark, New Jersey in the 60s during the riots. The only people that had guns were the good guys and the bad guys. And the good guys were all in the mafia. So, different world. And in 1986, a friend of mine became a police officer, and he took me to a range to shoot. I'd never shot before, fell in love with it, decided I wanted to buy a gun, so the next day I walked into a gun store to buy a gun. The gentleman behind the counter says, "Do you have your firearms ID card?" "What's that?" "Do you have a pistol permit?" "What's that?" Well, I had to go through the entire process, as Tony was talking before. Time, money, background check, fingerprints, FBI, mental health background check, references, family members, etc., etc. I felt like I was treated like a criminal. So that started my journey, being a little obsessive compulsive. I became an NRA instructor, I became an NRA training counselor, turning people like him and Tina into instructors. And I started to bleed the NRA at an early age, became an advocate in New Jersey. We started the phrase Florio Free in '93 to get rid of our governor at the time, and we were successful. Testified in Trenton. And then I decided, I had a little promotional advertising business. I said to my wife at the time, I'm gonna start giving gun lessons, private lessons, nights and weekends, just to keep myself busy. Fast forward, 33 years later, I have a range that sits on 4 acres, 11 miles from New York City. It's 186,000 square feet, 6 ranges, and 160 employees, and a gun store. We fired Valentina. No, we were sad when she went, but she's here, she's at the range more now. So the business blew up. I believe in paying it forward. I believe in unity and activism. Valentina, the phrase, support those who support you. But here's an interesting thing. What happens in New Jersey doesn't stay in New Jersey, and we are battleground states, and people in battleground states know how much we have to fight. California, just to get case law to the Supreme Court to fix it for everybody. So just like everybody from Florida Carry, I'm a Benefactor Life member of Florida Carry. 3 years ago, my wife and I, we bought a house in Southwest Florida. And I'm like, yes, I'm in the gunshine state now. I'm gonna get my driver's license changed, and I'm gonna get involved in Florida politics a little bit, but not that much. And I did. Because I'm one that can't say no. I was the executive vice president of the state NRA. Now I'm a board member of the state NRA. I became an NRA board member in 2019, and I basically had to sit on my hands for about 4 or 5 years because we were the minority board members, as Will has talked about a little bit, because I witnessed around me when other board members spoke up the way I was intending to. My freshman year as a board member, they got stripped of all their committees and ostracized. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna see if I can wait it out a little bit until we do get the majority, and now we do. And now it's a new NRA. Yes, Amanda. It is indeed a new NRA. So I can't tell you how proud I am to be a board member and defend our freedoms and our rights. I mean, I'm a kid that grew up in the city. I'm barely a high school graduate. A nun in 4th grade wrote on my report card that I was educationally retarded.
Education.
That was an actual term in 1968, by the way. They used that word. So my father still used that word on me. I thought that was my name until I was about 14. About 15 years ago, one of my students, who's a doctor in infectious diseases, he called the NRA and said, I want to learn how to shoot a gun. My wife and I were victims of a home invasion. And he lived in Wall Township, New Jersey. And he came up to my school, the NRA recommended me. He took some classes, and then he started hanging around a little bit. And he noticed people would walk in and ask me questions. I want to get a carry permit. Can I carry it home? Or hollow points legal? Policemen would come up to my facility and ask me legal questions. I'm not even a lawyer. So he said, you should start a podcast. And my first question to him was, what's a podcast? This is 15 years ago. He explained it to me. So we started Gun for Hire Radio, the voice of 1 million gun owners. The first week, my mother listened to it. I think that was it, right? We've been doing it, I just taped yesterday's show, 770, and we have hundreds of thousands of people listen to my show every week, where we educate people. We have guests on, we have young kids on, we have lawyers, victims of crime, LGBTQ. My gun range is 11 miles from Manhattan. If you stop at Gun for Hire on any given day, the clientele looks like a cross between Noah's Ark and the United Nations. There is literally every size, shape, and color in attendance. And here, accidental advocate. Here's the thing. We're not always gonna get the positive wins. Think about this. A husband and wife, minority, come to my range from Brooklyn. They have preconceived notions of what us gun people are, right? Fat old white guys with flannel shirt or camouflage, with big beard and summer teeth. Some over here, some over there, right? So now, right, this husband and wife, they come into the range, they spend an hour and a half, they spend a few $100 in my place. they're not all gonna walk out and join the NRA or SAF and become an advocate, right? But if they walk out as a neutral, if we change them from a negative to a neutral, is that not a win? We'll take those wins every day, right? So the next day when that lady is at work and something happens in the gun community and they're attacking us, she's gonna turn around, a person of color or lesbian, LGBTQ, I don't care, she's gonna say, you're wrong. I was at a range yesterday and it wasn't like that. It was diverse, it was clean, it was safe, it was friendly. So I lead you with my last two thoughts. Each one, reach one. What you're doing here with your boys is God's work, right? Everybody in here is a Second Amendment advocate, whether it's donating money or going to rallies or standing behind Kevin for what he put together here today. But also what you can do is introduce people to shooting. Bring them to the range. Not everybody is going to turn to the dark side, but you are going to get people that are going to go, wow, this wasn't what I expected. And you're there to help them. You're going to guide them through the process on how to get a gun and make sure they don't get misinformation. So we're all advocates in our own right. Now I'm going to leave you with this. What happens in New Jersey doesn't stay in New Jersey. Amen. Right. I'm not one to take no for an answer, ever. So I'm big on branding. The company is called Gun for Hire. I used to own a promotional advertising company. I have it tattooed on my arm, Gun for Hire. All of our vehicles in New Jersey, the range vehicles, are all wrapped Gun for Hire. My personal car, the license plate says Gun for Hire. This is an old plate, I got a new one. I moved to the Gunshine State. I got a car. I go to Florida Motor Vehicles, that's what we call it in New Jersey. I fill out the paperwork for custom plate Gun for Hire. I bring it to the counter. Guy disappears in the back, comes back out, says, no, we can't approve this, it's offensive. I'm like, wait a minute. This is your decision? There's no other gatekeeper, just the clerk at Motor Vehicles? Yeah, because if we send it to Tallahassee and they reject it, we get in trouble. I'm like, now I'm a Karen. Can I speak to the manager? Manager comes out, looks at it, says, we can't submit it. I'm like, with all due respect, this is bullshit. I'm gonna hire a lawyer. He goes, well, you could send it directly to Tallahassee. So I sent it directly to Tallahassee. A month later, my check clears. Oh, I must have my plate. 2 weeks later, I get a rejection letter in the mail. But they took my money for the application. I thought this was Florida. I thought this was the Gunshine State. I thought you people were fighting for our rights here. This is offensive. Gun for Hire is offensive. So I hired a law firm. So, as we speak right now, a prisoner in a federal penitentiary is making my Gun for Hire license. Because I do not take no for an answer. I'm here for you, support those who support you, right, Valentina, over there? We're surrounded in New Jersey with some great people. Gun people are the best people and the worst people. We fight together, and then we fight amongst ourselves. But I will tell you this, springboarding on what Willis Lee said before, I have never, in my 34 years of advocacy, seen the national and state 2A groups exhibit so much unity in my entire lifetime. We are on a trajectory I could not imagine. The NRA has 60 cases running through the federal courts right now, and all of the other 2A groups, national and local, are backing us up. So join your groups and get out there and throw some lead. Thank you.
Dan, come here for a minute. You're out of here. You got a long ride. Love you, brother. Thank you. So I lied a little bit earlier. I said that was the last speaker. We have an add-on. Brian, come on up here. My good buddy Brian Cook. He helped cook, he helped park cars. What else have you done? Wake up.
Yeah, it turns out if you park cars long enough, they'll actually let you come up here and speak. So But honestly, so I'm up here, you have no clue who I am, right? Nobody's heard of me. I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not a board member of some organization. I haven't started an organization. I haven't done anything like that. I'm you, okay? But this is why I wanted to come up here. If you go to Indian River County, Florida, everybody know where Indian River County, Florida is, right? Go to Vero Beach, find any Cub Scout in Vero Beach, and ask them who taught them to shoot a rifle. They're gonna say Mr. Bryant. My point is, you don't have to be a board member. You don't have to start a national organization. You don't have to own a shooting school. You don't have to be from New Jersey. You can actually make a difference. It does help a little bit, I'll give you that. Right? But I talk to these kids. I don't preach them. I don't preach the Second Amendment. I teach them gun safety, and I teach them how to shoot. And the first time they hit that bullseye, the rest of the work is done. They're hooked. Okay? The reason I really wanted to come up here is because organizations like the Scouts, 4-H, we are having a very hard time finding instructors. To be a merit badge counselor in the Scouts, you have to be an NRA instructor. I know somebody earlier asked, how many NRA instructors up here? So let me see the hands again. Every single one of you is qualified right now to go Scouts and be a merit badge instructor for rifle or pistol or whatever it is that you are an NRA instructor for. You're also qualified to teach BB guns. For you who are not an NRA instructor, you got two options. One, to teach BB guns and archery and slingshots to these kids. I know we're mainly worried about BB guns here, but you get all three. It's like a 6-hour course. You come in once every 2 years, you go take this course, you can go to a scout, help them with the shooting, help them with that kind of stuff, and get these kids shooting. Okay? Because the key is, once these kids are shooting and they got that smile, guns are no longer this scary thing that are in the movies. Even if their kids are afraid of guns, or their parents are afraid of guns, I'm sorry, they're not going to be, because like, oh, yeah, I shot one of those at camp last week. So, the second thing I was going to tell you is a lot of the councils, if you're interested in becoming an instructor, have grant programs. I was an NRA pistol and personal defense instructor. I probably dropped $4,000 to get that kind of instructions. Do you know how much it cost when the council gave me a grant to teach shotgun, to become a shotgun instructor? $150 is what I paid to become a NRA shotgun instructor. Now how much I had to pay to be a black powder instructor? $50. That is an NRA black powder instructor. It includes the basic course and the instructor course. I'm not saying every council in every area does that, but this is how desperate they are to find people. And all they ask is, in our council, down in Indian River County, is all they ask is that you volunteer to shoot at 2 events. And then hopefully, we're hoping you'll get more. So, just to kind of close, I told him I'm gonna keep this quick. I've been a Marine Corps marksmanship instructor. I've taught the best marksmen in the world, best marksmen in the U.S. Armed Forces, best armed forces in the world. I taught them how to shoot. I was an NRA instructor, pistol, personal defense instructor for 20 years, but I'll tell you what, the one thing I remember most is the smile on a 6-year-old kid's face the first time he hits a bullseye with a BB gun. That is more, I'm almost in tears when I just think about those smiles I've been together. So please, when you get home, I know people are from all over the state, all over the country, go reach out to the NRA, to the 4-H, to those type of organizations who are still teaching kids how to shoot, and volunteer your time. Thank you.
Say, you're gonna help me? All right, guys. You guys been here a while. Did you guys have fun? Yeah. Did you learn anything? Yeah. Okay, that's why we do it. We're going to draw some raffles for some of the stuff that's on the table here right now. And the last thing we'll do is the ammunition that Patrick has for the gun food. Okay, throw it in there. You're gonna pick, you're gonna draw. So we're gonna do the thermocells first. So I think the idea is we'll put all the thermocells over here, we'll put the tickets with it, then right at the end, we have 6 of these, right? And right at the end, you guys come up and grab instead of back and forth. All right, you draw, you got a mic? You wanna call?
Alrighty, you ready? 603-697. 603-697. Nope. Going once? Going twice?
So,
603615. 603615. 603682. 603682. Got one? That's two. 603647. 603647. 3. 603666. 603596. 603590.
That's all 6 thermos cells, right? We'll try to carry these over there. All right, Brian, you're still here. You're gonna help out here. Let's take these ones over. Over here.
I know you guys don't want to be here all day.
Exactly.
We're gonna move through them quick.
We're gonna try to move through them quick. Gun trigger locks. Donated by my friend Lee over here. Lee, put your hand up, buddy. These are what they look like. I'm holding my finger on them. Hopefully you guys can see them. We have 4 of them here.
First one, 603633. 603.
We have 3 of them here.
33. Next one, 603652. 603652. 603651. 603650. Those are like all in a row. I'm gonna throw that in and do another one. What were the chances of that?
Wow.
603664. 603664. Okay.
That's all 3. Okay. The booth out there that has the ropes over there, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd booth out there. We're gonna draw a raffle on there. You guys go back there with the ticket. Say it again? CJ, yep. DJ, sorry. So, oh, there's 2 of them. Yep, there's 2 of them. All right, you go draw on that.
603712. 603712. 603717. 603717.
Got one.
603657. 603657. Going one. Going good. 603676.
Go.
We got a winner.
And that's those 2? Okay, I'll see this one right here. So I had a good buddy of mine send me these awesome spices called Reload. So we want to give these ones away. So what do we have here? 5 of these.
Six 603-587. 603-587. That did remind me, I did promise the Scouts. You saw they have a table out there? If you're local, they're selling these things called camp cars. They've got all kinds of discounts. If you're not local, please just buy one and donate $10. That boy's been standing out there all day trying to sell it. Next one, 603-672. 603-672. 603-612. 603-612.
Going once.
Nope, going once. 603-695. 603695. Everybody must have gone home while I was talking or something.
It's the voice.
It's the voice.
You're not from New Jersey.
I'm not from New Jersey, that's what it is. Nobody comes to Florida to listen to a Florida guy. 603693. 603693.
All right, we'll do one more, then we'll off to the next thing.
603599.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, 693.
Okay, you guys 693. And then another one was 603599.
Yep.
You got that one too? Oh, I thought you had 603.
Here, grab that end.
One more. 603680. 603680. 603637. 603637.
Where we at?
Trying to give away spices. Trying to give away
Wait, we got
spices.
one more?
One
One more spice?
One more. 603620. Nobody wants spices. Alrighty, who traveled the furthest? Where from? New Jersey?
I don't think that's
Somebody
the furthest.
not from New Jersey. Who traveled the furthest? Huh?
Citrus County.
California?
No, Florida.
Oh, that don't count. Come on. Anybody from Miami?
Wait.
I was gonna give something to a
Wait, I have an
person.
idea. Steve, run out there and throw it to someone.
Chuck it.
Pick someone
Chuck
randomly.
it.
Happened to the guy who traveled the farthest.
That's why I was gonna give it to somebody who traveled the furthest. Who say anything?
Wait, do we call this one?
Yeah. Nobody's.
Which one was this?
It was one of the spices that I blow up.
What is-
What was next? They got whatever's next.
We have a box of ammo.
There we go.
Ammunition?
Bingo.
This is from Dennis Fields with Florida Carry. So it is a nice box of 9mm, 115 grain. You're welcome. That's him right there. So give him a big hug. He gives the best hugs in the world. Right back there. We have another box of ammunition, so let's do this one.
603607.
Come on.
Wasn't that the one the lady earlier was asking me?
How many NRA instructors are here? No, you didn't.
For real?
Yeah.
Enough ammo to start shooting with me. 607.
3607?
607, yeah.
She just went through boxes of ammunition?
That's one.
What are the odds of that?
This has been a weird drawing.
This is a
It's
very-
almost the weirder than when I pulled 3 numbers in a row.
There you go. Holy. Oh, you gotta go home now.
Yes. You're banned from.
You were disqualified from all future programs.
What are we giving away before I yell the number? We have nothing.
We got one question. Where's Josh? You had something you wanted to say before we finish this off for a moment. You guys can stay for a minute.
You just forget everybody wants to talk.
Well, I did, but he wanted to say something. So what do you do? What do you do?
So I'm Josh Ashgill, I'm JMA Investigative Services, private investigative firm here in Florida, and I have worked with Eric Friday for 15 plus years. Where is Eric?
Hey, Eric, where you at?
He's outside.
Eric!
Friday? Of course he walks off.
There he is.
There's Eric.
Anyhow, so I've worked with Eric for about 15 plus-ish years as his investigator and bail bondsman.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's been a...
That's bonding me out.
But a recent investigation led me to find out that today is Eric Friday's birthday.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So we have him a little cake, but would you guys sing happy birthday?
Eric. right, so we are going to do, we got some, Josh right there donated this awesome cooler. So why don't we do that?
Okay, oh yeah, that's mine. Sorry. 603628. Microphone. 603628.
Awesome.
We got a winner.
Hand that down to Steve. There was a bottle of Maker's Mark in there, but that fell out and broke in my tent.
I think from now on we should refer to Steven as Vanna. Vanna White.
Vanna, thank you.
Thank you, Vanna.
Vanna?
Vanna, don't you ever watch the Wheel of Fortune?
I watched the Wheel of Fortune. Or should we do like a Price is Right thing?
What are we giving them?
Let's go over here. Gun cleaning kits.
Ooh. I know everybody's got one of these in their closet they never use. First one, 603689. 603689?
Do we have one?
No.
Oh,
she's just stretching her legs.
She's anti-gun.
We've caught on to you. 603586. 603586. One more. 603635. 603635. We got a winner.
What we got next? We got a signed copy of Good Gun, Bad Guy from Dan Was.
603606. 603606.
Oh, got it! Awesome!
I'm on the cordless. I can go wherever I want.
Let's get these things over here. All right, these next things are graciously donated by my good friend Thomas King with Florida Firearms Academy in Tampa.
603677. 603677. We got it.
We got a winner. All right, cool beans. Have an Uptula loader.
603648. 603648.
Safety glasses for the range.
603710. 710.
Ear protection for the range or your wives. Or husbands, definitely. Sorry for profiling.
603714. 603714. In the back.
Glock backpack. Again, all these things are donated by the Florida Firearms Academy in Tampa.
603705.
This has a built-in holster.
Wrong number.
Did I have one? 603705.
Check it out.
Will you please, Vanna?
One more thing from Florida Firearms Academy Gun Range in Tampa, Florida. This is a 1-year membership to the range. I will read it off. It's a $350 value Florida Firearms Academy 1-year family. Whoa, family membership.
603656. 603656.
Anyone? That's Jeopardy now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I know.
So,
yes,
Some
that's
Price is
it.
Right,
Final
or-
question. That's the final one.
Pick a show.
You forget things at my age. 603642. 603642. You.
Yeah. I don't live here.
You want to gift it to somebody, or you want me to redraw it?
Happy to gift it to somebody that lives close to them.
Who lives close to Tampa?
First hand was right
First
here.
hand, you got it.
Way better it goes to somebody who can use it.
Thank you guys, that's awesome. What do we have?
I guess I'm unclaimed over here.
Nope, that's not a giveaway, that was a gift. That's for the front, don't worry, I'll give that back. Patrick, I think you're up.
First and foremost, give it up for Kevin for putting the event together. This is a great thing here. You know, it's always nice to see it happen successfully every year and just have a blast doing it.
And thanks Steve and Brian, my wife, for helping out with this.
Yes, yes.
Everybody in a blue shirt.
So we had 17 entries.
17 entries, okay?
17 entries. Sorry, 16 entries. I got minus one line. Out of the 16 entries is Anthony B. and Rich S. Is Rich S. or Anthony B. still here?
Nope, right there.
All right.
Let's see, does he remember his guess?
Rich S., you actually are the winner.
So what?
There were 286. And you remember what your guess was? 285.
Awesome.
Great job.
I think.
How many times I figured?
He's over there, that's from Jay. I think that pretty much wraps this up. Thank you guys for making the 9th annual 2A Freedom Fest a success. The question is, will you be back next year for our 10th?
Hopefully. Yeah. Planning on it.
There you go. Thank you guys. There we did it.